Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to HeroesCCL presented by Wisdom. My name's Bahamut, joined by Grubby and Justing, and we're here in Week 6, Day number 1, getting closer and closer to the end of our round robin. But before we get into everything that is HeroesCCL, let's get into what my wonderful friends have been up to in this past week. Grubby, you got some stylish new specs on today.
There was a deal Justin and I made. He was gonna shave like me, and I was gonna wear glasses like him. So,
Okay.
yeah, just trying to trying to have one look here among all the casters.
I like it. You know,
True story.
headphones, hair at some point in their face or head, and then glasses, of course. But those look great.
Next week I'll do a ring on my index finger.
Perfect. I'll send you a link for the exact same ring. But how are those? How are those working for your eyes? A little bit better because it looks like it has the that film for gaming.
Yeah, it's nice. I like wearing them. They're really comfortable.
All right, cool. Justin, what have you been up to in the past week, my friend?
Been playing a bunch of video games. Been playing some Storm League. Trying out Thrall in particular. Played a little bit of him.
Ooh.
It's been fun.
Alrighty, yeah, I have unfortunately delved back into Bloodborne as a mistake, but I did check out that new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles beat 'em up game. It is very fun with your friends, so if you do want to have a nice like couch game or an online game with your friends, highly recommend it. It was a really good time. But let's go ahead and jump over to our prizing and see where we sit here at the start of week number 6. And of course, as always, to be transparent with all of you at home, 60% will be going to the players, first place taking 35%, 40% coming back to Wisdom to run the show, the league, and everything in between. Because of your generosity, we're at $11,322.11. If you'd like to push that prize pool further along, you can use !prize pool in chat to get yourself over to the match arena. And Grubby, just want to check in with you because it's so cool. We're nearing $12,000 here. This is really cool.
Yeah, it's a lot of amazing support. Thank you so much, guys, because you're helping to motivate the players to play for even greater prizes. And we are going to LAN this season. We hope we're going to have an amazing show there. But of course, a large part of what we do is online here, and it helps a lot that you guys are supporting in this extra way. Thank you so much.
Thank you so very much, and as Grubby mentioned, that LAN will be happening August 5th through 7th at Mall of America in the Wisdom Gaming Studios. But Justing, that's in the future. Let's look at the present when it comes to our league standings. If you can break down what we're looking at as the rosters or the teams sit on our standings.
So right now we've got 30K alone in first with a 5-0 record. Haven't lost a single match yet. With Chili Mountain close behind with a 4-1 record. I believe we will see them going up against each other later this weekend, so that's going to be exciting. And we've got WildHeart, Oxygen, Diamond Hands all fighting for that top 3 spot. The third place team does not have to fight through the gauntlet to qualify for the LAN, so there's a lot of contention among these middle of the pack teams to try to break into that third place.
Well, and as Justin alluded to, Grubby, could you actually break down what we're going to see on HeroesCCL today? Because we got some big names here on Saturday, June 18th.
Yep, today we're starting with WildHeart versus Granit Gaming. And as you just saw, WildHeart has a score of 3-2. And with their map score, that means that right now they are top 3. They need to win against Granit Gaming in order to keep it up, because they're in hot contention with 2 other teams, Oxygen and Diamond Hands, who will be playing each other tomorrow. That means that one of them will be 4 victories. WildHeart cannot afford not to be a 4-victory team. They need this win against Granit. However, Granit, they said if they make it to LAN, they think they're the best team there. At least SMX said so. And that better starts to be proven now. Plus, they still need to make it to LAN. Every rank they improve helps them to play one less match in the gauntlet. This one is important for them as well. Then we're going to have Chili Mountain, our rank 2 team, against 30K, our rank 1. That should be the marquee match for tonight. The 2 best teams so far in the league going up against each other. Awesome.
I'm really excited about the matchups today. I'm really excited about the matchups for this entire weekend. As Grubby had said, Diamond Hands, Oxygen, and Storm and Simplicity tomorrow on Father's Day. So it's going to be really exciting. Just, I think, like, we're at the end of the season, and of course, as Grubby said, every map matters for this gauntlet. So we're really going to start coming down and seeing, you know, how I feel like WildHeart here in this first best of 5 is going to have to pull out everything to make sure they secure a 3-0, because that map score is very important. But I'm getting ahead of myself here. I'm already talking about teams and stuff. Let's actually talk about our amazing sponsor, Next Level Gaming. What is Next Level Gaming? They're a Miami-based esports center where you can play Heroes the Storm among 400 other pre-installed games that are updated daily. Next Level Gaming is also a Blizzard Cafe, which gives you extra benefits for playing over at the Miami-based Esports Center, like extra experience on your account and all heroes being unlocked. They've got HP Omens with Intel i7 processors and RTX 3090s, and with such an amazing computer, you gotta have a wonderful monitor setup. 2 monitor options for you, a 24-inch monitor at 240Hz or a 32-inch monitor at 144Hz. Be sure to use !NXT in chat to find out all you can about the amazing Esports Center in Miami. But of course, we gotta talk about another favorite from all of you at home. It's Ball Street. HeroesCCL Fantasy is back. We've partnered with Ball Street to bring you CCLmarkets.com. It's a free pick'em game that lets you choose your CCL winners in real time as you watch the action. Simply buy shares of the team you think is going to win the matchup and sell shares of the team you think is going to lose. The best part is you can change your mind at any time because the market is always open. Buy and sell all match long to get a better score. Every night, the top traders on CCL Markets will win prizes, and you can compete all season long. Join CCLmarkets.com and win prizes as you watch today's broadcast. Once again, thank you so much, Ball Street, for partnering up with HeroesCCL Season 4. But now, we were talking about matchups, we were talking about maps. Grubby, can you start breaking down this Granit Gaming roster?
Granit Gaming is comprised of ex-competitive pros, now trying to get back into it as well in this competitive Hearts League of CCL. Breeze, Oik, SMX, Wubby and Quacknix all have extensive pro gaming experience in the years 2015 to 2019 or so, 18. And then Azurite, a bit of a newer addition, but grand in his own right as well. All of these players are fantastic. Breeze used to be the tank that never dies. Oik was able to hit a target from 2 miles away with a Wave of Force, Magic Missile, Arcane Orb combo. And SMX known for his Brightwing way back then. And the only player that often picked Emerald Wind on Brightwing as part of a assassination composition, a pick-off comp that they used to run with Stitches and Falstad and whatnot. A great team to watch.
Very excited to watch how Granit Gaming is going to fare today up against WildHeart. And of course, Justing, you may know a player or two on this roster.
Sure do. Some players that are a little bit new to the roster. We have Haben playing the tank position, IBTings the ranged flex for the team, and then we've got Mason Blaze playing the ranged, Weary Day the support, Zergling the offlane, and Roger their 6th member. This is a team that has looked quite strong this season, was a bit of a dark horse from the beginning weeks, where a lot of teams ranked them in the bottom of their power rankings, but we're seeing so far they're currently fighting for 3rd place. And as Grubby talked about beforehand, this match is extremely important to them if they want to have a chance at securing that 3rd place and avoiding the gauntlet.
I'll be honest, in my own power rankings, I put Diamond Hands and WildHeart kind of in that 4 or 5 spot middle of the pack, and I was really saying that they need to prove themselves this season, because there are some huge names on Chili Mountain, Oxygen, and 30k, so I really like what I'm seeing from WildHeart as well as Diamond Hands, but definitely, as you said, adjusting, WildHeart feeling and looking like a dark horse in the season so far. I want to get your thoughts here, Grubby, as well, on the matchup between these two teams. Any sort of thoughts, takeaways, or excitement for this best of 5 series we're about to get into?
Yeah, I think WildHeart has proven that they are the much better, consistent team in this season so far. But if you look at Granit Gaming, they've taken a map pretty much every series, which is impressive, even against some of the higher ranked teams. They also seem like they're getting a little bit better. Not just because they beat the lowest ranked team, Simplicity, last weekend. And I know it's hard to judge because sometimes you're like, hey, they're playing pretty good now, but they're against the lower rank, and then you wonder how much would they have got away with that in draft, how much would they have got away with things inside the game, and then it was even still quite close. So I think it's with a healthy dollop of copium, but I still think that Granit Gaming is playing better now and have more of a chance. But there should be no doubt that WildHeart is the big favorite here.
Well, let's go ahead and break down where we're going to for map number 1, and we can start kind of delving further into our thoughts on these drafts and what these teams need to do, because we're heading to Battlefield of Eternity, chosen by WildHeart Esports. And if you're wondering how we got to Battlefield, the members of Granit Gaming won coin flip, opting for first pick priority on the first map, meaning WildHeart chooses said map number 1. Alterac Pass banned up by WildHeart, Dragonshire by the members of Granit Gaming. Granit consistently banning out Dragonshire all season long. We have not seen them on that map yet, but justing some map stats to share for at least Battlefield, a singular win for Granit, and 2 wins for WildHeart. Both these teams sit lossless on this map.
Yeah, and I think this is a smart map for WildHeart to take Granite to, because in the past 2 weeks, Granite has began showing that they understand the macro game quite a bit, and that they're kind of learning how the macro works now versus before. And most of their matches last week, they were kind of winning macro even if they were losing fights. And BOE is a map where you really have to win fights to win the game. So I think it's smart by WildHeart to take them here.
And I wonder what kind of strategy, Grubby, will see these teams explore maybe. What will they utilize for Battlefield? Is this going to be a poke composition from some of these teams, a sort of defensive, or even maybe a dive composition? I'm really excited to see who kind of goes more aggressive and who maybe goes defensive on this map.
Yeah, it's a really good question, and in Battlefield of Eternity, macro seems less important, as Justin alluded to, but Granite Gaming did pretty much try to make it come down to that every time. And I think they played on Battlefield of Eternity last weekend and kind of predicted that they were going to go with a meta that was popular probably 4 to 5 years ago. Kind of called it there with Tyrael and Li Ming, and they went with that. And did it work? Let's see, Battlefield. It did work. Yeah, Tyrael. It was Tyrael, Genji, Hogger, Vala, Brightwing. So did have to learn Hager since then, obviously. Also, what's interesting is that every single game that was a victory for Granite Gaming last week was with Hager.
And I mean, also adjusting, as we kind of talked a little bit about in the pre-show, there was a lot of losses for Granite Gaming because of that Maiev from Tiger JK.
Yeah, not sure if WildHeart is going to be quite as comfortable with it as we saw Tiger JK playing it on Simplicity, but Maiev priority was super high in their last match, and banning that was kind of what Granite seemed to need to do. That seemed to be their kryptonite in last week's match. Not sure what the priority on Maiev will be for the teams overall. It's weird that her in particular, we've seen probably the most variance in the priority. We saw in week 1 really high priority, first pick, first ban, and then a lot of drop off, and it just really seems to be more of a team-based thing. WildHeart picking up 2 very tanky heroes though off the bat.
Now that's not a bad start whatsoever for WildHeart. They have a pretty good record with their Blaze as well. But Grubby, any thoughts on the Battlefield draft as we get 2 more picks from Granite Gaming?
It's interesting to see Diablo Blaze coming out. In the past, Diablo would be a liability to pick early, because you would just go Garrosh Tychus or Leoric Tychus or Greymane and Varian, something to blow up that large health pool. It seems that fear has completely evaporated, and into Hanzo, they're happy to take those 2. Of course, Diablo is quite good against Hanzo, because Hanzo always wants to stand close to walls in order to escape with his jump. That's exactly when Diablo could get him. But a lot of it relies on vision. And, a good Hanzo player will scout out with scatters and sonics. So we'll see how that goes. In the 2 games that Granite Gaming lost against Simplicity, they did not use Hager. I know I said they won the 3 with Hager. They lost the 2 where they didn't use it. So, by that reasoning, Bahamut, it's a win. They got it.
It's already a win. We might as well go to map number 2 at this point. And Grubby just skipping to chapter 2 in our script today. But there is a very strong synergy being built here for the side of WildHeart. Before we kind of wrap up the draft, Grubby, just any other closing thoughts on what we have so far for our draft?
Not much right now. Looks pretty solid. Greymane has a racer. 1 more flex. I think the big question mark will be answered now, how Granite deals with that Diablo.
Exactly. Well, Justin, now that we're kind of seeing almost everything in the draft, got to get your thoughts on what's unfolded here. Not a bad draft for Granite overall. I really do like what they put together.
Yeah, really standard picks coming out from Granite. We'll see what WildHeart looks to go with to kind of counter their playstyle. Granite does have a little bit of a strange setup with an Anubarak that wants to really dive in a bit more, and a Hanzo as their first pick that's really poke-focused. Sylvanas, well, she does do good sustain damage and is good at diving into the backline with an Anubarak and a Hager. He doesn't necessarily do that same type of poke that a lot of the ranged heroes do. The Thrall is the last pick for WildHeart. That's very weird. It's a lot of bullying onto the Anubarak and onto the Hager played by Wubby. Not sure if that's exactly the best thing for them. They're just stacking CC on WildHeart. You have Blaze with CC, Diablo CC, Dukov Puddles, Thrall Root now as well. And then Greymane Thrall is really going to make Anubarak's life pretty difficult. My main concern here for Granite is Breeze getting potentially farmed on the Anubarak. It's a very bad matchup into Diablo. It's a very bad matchup into Greymane and Thrall with their heavy auto attacks. Even Stukov has big auto attacks that Anubarak doesn't really deal with all too well. So it's going to be a little bit difficult, I think, for Breeze to survive on the front line. I don't feel as though WildHeart was really punished for picking the Blaze and the Diablo, so I think that's a bit of a mistake coming out from Granit. The Hanzo Sylvanas not the best at dealing with that. Hanzo does really well when he's got a good when he can play the game slowly and he can kind of just chip away at the opponents, but when you have the entire team running at you, which is what it looks like WildHeart's going to be set up to do, it becomes much more difficult to play Hanzo when you're playing from the back foot. So I think WildHeart's composition works a little bit better. They can play for a 4-1 split with Greymane burning, and they have a lot more CC and a lot more kill pressure when they're not together as 5.
Well, thank you, Justin, for the breakdown. As always, we'll see you after Battlefield for some post-mort analysis, as we've got Smexy on the Brightwing, Breeze on the Anubarak, Hogger to be played by Wubby, Poik on the Hanzo, and Azerite on the Sylvanas. Over on the side of WildHeart Esports, Haben on the Diablo, Weary Day on the Stukov, Mason Blaze to play the Greymane, Blaze played by Zergling, that always throws me off with Mason Blaze, and Ibitings on the Thrall. It seems like the members of WildHeart Esports, depending on the positioning, they're going to be playing like Whack-A-Mole or Whack-A-Knoll, you know? Like if Hogger goes too deep. Like, sorry, anyways. But Grubby,
Starting
really,
strong today.
Starting real strong. I ate my Wheaties, but I do really like both of these drafts. I will say this, though. Haben on the Diablo, and we got Weary Day on the Stukov. I'm leaning on to WildHeart for a win here. I really like what they put together. But any thoughts from you, Grubby, as we're kind of getting into the early game of Battlefield?
Yeah, okay, going for Diablo. He's really low. Can he actually survive here? Yes, nice escape on the minion. There's the cleanse. SMX trying to get everyone out. It's interesting that Justin said that Diablo and Blaze are hard to deal with as a Anubarak, but it's the Anubarak that was picked later. And the Anubarak loves to be part of a blow-up composition or pick off, isolating one away and then quickly getting a kill. And that he thought that Hanzo would maybe have some trouble with that. So that is interesting. Did Granit shoot themselves in the foot, or are they operating on deeper, undiscovered levels? Here's what they do have, Bahamut. A dragon arrow coming in from afar, big connection. Anubarak walks up, cocoons the healer or cocoons the Diablo. Then Sylvanas peppering people with a wailing arrow. And then the rest is history. That's how you make a kill. A big wombo combo that isn't too difficult to execute. It just rests a large burden on the shoulders. Hanzo.
And Poik is going to have to land those massive dragon arrows to be able to set up for the Anubarak. But I do agree with you. I like what they can kind of wombo there together. I also want to point out the level 1 for the Thrall gives him some really nice burst ability into the Anubarak and the Hoggers. So I expect Ibitings to maybe float around and, to use other MOBA terms, jungle a little bit around the map and try and find some of these offset fights maybe in the solo lane onto that Hogger. Feel like the IB Tings on this Thrall is kind of like the secret weapon for this game, and I think a lot of us might be undervaluing it, or maybe even not even seeing what will be brought to the table. But of course, fours are approached by both sides. The big thing that I want to point out here is we got that biotic armor for the Stukov at level 4. Really, really strong talent.
Gonna be having extra physical armor. He gives up continual CDR for his heals, or maybe even ancestral level bio-kill switch procs on his healing pathogens. As long as he pathogens 3 people, he can get really, really big heals. Instead, gonna go with the armor that he can use bio-kill switch a little bit more independently rather than waiting for big healing pathogens. In my eyes, this armor talent is the more aggressive talent, because you're not just focusing on passive sustain all the time, and you're not focusing on using your kill switch only for healing. Now you can use it more aggressively.
First objective is up and available. Haben finds the angle onto Anubarak. Anubarak isolated from their team, and the Soothing Mist will not be enough. First blood goes over to the side of WildHeart Esports.
What is Granit Gaming doing here? You would imagine that when your tank gets blown up 1v5 and that you lose 50% of your Immortal, you would also be racing at the Immortal of your opponent, that you're using your tank sacrifice to race. Instead, they pushed with Sylvanas on the bottom fort while everyone else was kind of just clearing waves or standing around. Not the strongest start here for Granit Gaming, but it is very possible that they accepted that they were never going to be getting this Immortal because their race is weaker. Instead, they wanted to get some nice push value on the bottom tower.
Ivy Ting sidesteps the Burrow, but there's a nice follow-up with the Impale, and that will be a traded kill. Ivy Tings will lose any stacks that were gained on that level 4 Feral Spirit. or Frostwolf pack, excuse me. But here comes Bella through the bottom lane, Zergling looking to poke in as well. Meanwhile, on top, there's a rotation and a snipe onto Wubby.
Ouch.
And so kills in quick succession from both sides, but WildHeart, I think, finding the more dominant play in this, splitting with the Immortal. And they'll get some decent siege in both lanes.
The 2 towers that Granit Gaming got in the bottom lane while giving up the objective, they still have those, but now they've lost their 2 top towers because Hager wasn't safe in the lane. They saved 1 tower in the bottom lane, but overall this sequence of events was an advantage for WildHeart. The question is always, it isn't just about what kind of advantage did any team get. As we hold that thought, there's a phase shift on Greymane. He had the double stun on Greymane. Mason Blaze trying to get away. He's got 50 physical armor. Beatles! Num 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 num! No, he gets away! 120 health! The Beatles were too slow.
Oh no, the Beatles were not enough. Hanzo gets the arrow over the side of the wall. Haben goes for the Fire Stomp, trying to build up some HP back with the Fire Stomp build, but it's not going to return quick enough. And Diablo goes down. 89 souls, but low death timer timing, so it's not that big of a deal. But the members of Granit are just creating a wall that WildHeart can't even pass through to get into their own fort area. But Breeze goes down to the Thrall. That's that kill potential I had mentioned with IB Tings with that level 1.
Yeah, I was wondering about that, Anubrak. Does he have any stuns left to try and take down Zergling? And he went in, but it didn't work out. But I can see what he was going for. He must have not had Impale available anymore. I saw the Burrow charge, not the Impale. Not too bad, though. Granit going more toe-to-toe than they have been with most of the teams so far. And this is a higher level team in WildHeart, so it's not looking too bad for them. They look pretty strong when they're together. Their teamfight coordination has improved a bit, I would say. But now we have level 10 coming just ever so slightly faster for WildHeart. Hogger, oh, nice job. Well played by Wubby. Stepping forward rather than giving into his fear to run away from the Lord of Terror, he stepped forward to make sure that his staggering blow would hit before Shadow Charge could proc.
I was looking, I was like, did Haben go for a Fire Stomp instead? But I think you're right. I think he Fire Stomped and was going to go in for the Shadow Charge, but nice staggering blow. Camp still goes over to Hogger in the bottom lane. Thrall to go match into that. 10 talents here on the horizon for both these teams as Brightwing will clear out the top lane. The Immortal on the side.
They're letting Greymane race for free.
Exactly. And he's got a Inner Beast active from that glow, that green glow you see on him. So he's even racing faster too with that just attack speed buff.
I don't understand this. 3 to 4 members of Granit stand around doing nothing, floating around in the center.
Yeah.
That's right. Breeze, boy, they're just waiting, and waiting, letting Greymane race for free. It feels like they are very level 10 dependent. They recognize they're weaker right now, but now that they have Blink Heal, Dragon Arrow, Shockwave, Cocoon, Wailing, now they're ready to go. Let's see if they get a good value here.
Nope.
Breeze gets deleted immediately.
Shockwave from Hogger, follow-up from Hanzo, but the bunker down from Blaze saves the moment as there's going to be Greymane going in for the throat. We have Hogger to fall. Diablo comes in with the Shadow Charge. Blink away from Smexy. Lightning Breath to cook the tail of the Fairy Dragon as Mason Blaze razor swipes the last bit of Brightwing's health. Really well played from WildHeart Esports, securing the second Immortal of the game at a significantly high shield amount as well. Nearly a full shield on Beleth, who will once again go into the bottom lane. Blaze to split to top.
Another nice Immortal going over to WildHeart Esports. Bigger shield this time. We can see once again what happened. Anubrak actually got silenced by Stukov. That's why he couldn't cast Cocoon. That's the thing with Anubrak at high level against high damage and high CC. You pretty much have to cast Cocoon on the nearest target. Anytime you Burrow Charge in, you will not even have time to Cocoon anymore because he's so squishy. So kind of need to run that Cocoon a little bit faster. And yeah, that was no chance at all for Granit. The tank dies without using Cocoon is not good. Oh, he just stood and walked into a stun.
Oh no, Azurite is going to get locked in place. The Haunting Wave does get the Sylvanas out faster. The Immortal currently slapping into structures for 1,236 damage. Blaze now joining the rest of the party as the top lane fort, or the top lane wave has been pushed in. That's a lot of damage onto Anubrak, who's going to get the Soothing Mist from Brightwing, but a Jet Propulsion from Zergling
Nice
comes
job.
through. Mason Blaze, he's going for the throat, gets the double kill.
Very nice job. Mason Blaze was really nicely enabled by a weary day. Targeted Excision, weighted Pustule, big slows from afar. He's got that bonus slow on level 1, the Earthquake as we call it sometimes. as he's able to cast Earthquake on many people nearby. Oh, nice synergy there once again. Really nice execution by WildHeart.
Seems like Mason Blaze wants to continue chasing in, but the rest of WildHeart will be backing away. I thought with the death timers, maybe they were going to try, but also death timers are extremely low. So WildHeart, they don't go lethal, but they do have a keep down sub 10 minutes. They've got themselves 10 kills to the 2 of Granite Gaming. And maybe when we get into the next Immortal phase, maybe we jump into WildHeart comms here, how they're going to play.
Sounds good. We won't have much left to cast most likely in this game because WildHeart is just taking a massive advantage. Outside of the couple of towers that they lost, it's pretty much been all WildHeart. They're dominating right here. Granite Gaming trying to make use of some vision play here with Breeze, giving information, making sure that his team doesn't get flanked. But very much, make no mistake, Granite has to come back from very, very far down. The macro is against them, the micro is against them, the levels. It's tough. They have yet to win a proper fight.
You want to get into those WildHeart comms now?
Let's go for it. Let's see.
Here we go.
You don't have to do it. I mean, it's
I still don't see them. They
I'm
could
burning
be on
this
me. Yeah, maybe it's bad.
Be careful right now.
If they're here, it's under.
I think they're just push camping mid. Like if they're not showing top.
careful.
I'm gonna just face check. I'm walking up.
We got.
They're burning. Burn.
Oh.
We're gonna lose half
Yeah,
time.
defend half.
Pretty hard. Can take a
Our
fight
waves are
though.
pretty
I
good,
think we're
though.
better.
I'm gonna grab a bot wave. This is gonna.
They're gonna be
push a
on
little bit.
both waves. Both waves are really good for us. Can we block the
I'm not
Hanzo
there.
scatter here?
I'm grabbing another bot wave. They have to defend this.
They're probably all top side. I blind through it.
Bot's pushed in. I'm on the way up. This is
Enjoyable.
even.
I'm gonna blind root this again. Can we look here? Look.
Yeah.
Just waiting for someone to walk in. Now.
I'm looking for arrow in this choke.
Okay.
Where they at? We're looking for an arrow for sure.
It's fine. I'll play off Mason and then I'll Sunder when the arrow.
Bottom's pushing in a little bit now.
Yeah, they'll have to defeat their core and D-top.
Just
He
wait
has
for
like a
them to
full
show on
figure.
wave.
Watch me. Oh, he's not
Looking
walking.
at
Sunder now. Root. Huge root.
Wubby.
I can finish, I think.
I debunked
You have
this.
no damage up there, by the way.
That's fine. I'm the damage. I'm Blaze.
Oh. Racing.
Yeah, we just race. I root.
Push.
I'm fine.
I'm nothing.
You definitely know when WildHeart is feeling themselves, where you can hear the battle cry coming out as they secure the kill onto Hogger. The bottom lane pushed in by the Blaze, and you even heard it in the comms. I am the damage. I am Blaze.
Epic quote for an epic victory, most likely for WildHeart here. No real fear when a move finally was made in the waiting game. And the waiting game that was in favor of WildHeart, because as they said, they manipulated the waves to be in their favor. They had the catapults and the Khazras and they pushed in and they took the time to do all those. When the move finally got made, Granite had to make it. They went on Diablo. 100 soul Diablo with Lightning Breath and a 75 soul shield. That's not gonna work. I know Hanzo and Sylvanas do a lot of damage. There's no way that could possibly work. The waiting game for WildHeart was in their favor, and Granite had to flip the switch, but couldn't find an opportunity that really had a lot of merit.
I was staring at IB on the Thrall in that bush, kind of angling for a potential sundering, but there's the Jet Propulsion lurking. I'm so much damage! And there's the sundering, but it kind of saves Granite Gaming members. Doesn't really matter, as it has pushed Granite away far enough where Belith comes through that top lane keep. All structures have fallen on the side of Granite Gaming, and now WildHeart Esports, they're looking for lethal. They want to end this map number 1 in a pretty dominant way. Arrow from Hanzo connects, Jet Propulsion from Blaze, the spin from the Immortal. Greyman goes in for the throat. He gets a second kill with it. Man, oh man, do I gotta say, Mason Blaze is making a great case for go for the throat as WildHeart Esports go for the throat of Granite Gaming in map number 1. Extremely well played. Extremely well played from WildHeart. I think their execution today was very on point. A couple little wobbles at the start of the matchup, which had us kind of thinking like, oh man, Granite, they're looking better and better. But WildHeart said, no, Grubby, Bahamut, you're completely incorrect. We got this. 2 to 13 in kills, justing a wild game number 1.
Yeah, WildHeart looking super strong and very clean out the gates. We had a very WildHeart style composition where they have quite the death ball going on with the Stukov trying to spread the heals between everybody. You've got kind of an impenetrable front line between the Diablo and the Thrall, with just the solo DPS of Mason Blaze on the Grey main. Mason Blaze did carry his own weight for sure on the Grey main. We don't see too much of it, but it was a really good pick here alongside the Thrall to be able to kill the Anubarak played by Breeze, which I talked about that a bit in the draft, that Breeze was going to have a hard time, and I think that was pretty evident, especially around the mid game, when pretty much every time Breeze would try to engage on Anubarak, he just gets deleted. He's not tanky enough. He's built around spell armor. There's some games where Anubarak just looks invincible. This is not one of them. When you have Stukov with damage from auto attacks, you have Thrall from damage from auto attacks, and the main hyper carry being that Grey main, it becomes very, very difficult to really exist as Breeze. They can't get a clean one-shot. But you can't really play for that with the Cocoon if they have two ways to save people, and they do. They have Stukov, but they also have Blaze with Bunker, which kind of acts as a secondary support, which makes it very difficult to do what Anubarak wants to do, which is Cocoon one target and hard engage. And it looked like Granit Gaming had a bit of a chance in the early game when they were playing a little bit more for picks. Their comp is really good at getting picks when they're spread out, but as soon as they're together, it's pretty much impossible in a 5v5. This is where Breeze just gets absolutely annihilated with the Stukov slap there at the end, finish it off. Really good Sunderings coming out from Ivy Tings as well on the Thrall. We heard in the comms that he had kind of been planning to use the Sundering to counter-engage whenever the arrow came out from Granit. It felt like Granit was punished quite a bit in the draft for early prioritizing the Hanzo, and they're not committing to and building around a poke-based composition. And when you prioritize something like Hanzo like that, you really need to build around it, especially on BOE, where you have a clear playstyle you can play with the poke comp. They didn't really feel like they had enough damage to get through anyone on the side of WildHeart when they had this weird kind of half poke in Hanzo and then half hard engage with Anubarak and Sylvanas. Their composition felt a little bit weird. WildHeart's composition pretty much played flawlessly, just a death ball, kind of what we come to expect from WildHeart, kind of what they play best at, as this kind of death ball unit, 5-man unit, moving around, just crushing anyone who gets close to them. And yeah, WildHeart, I think their draft was better, but they also just played better as well. They got all 3 objectives, won the game pretty easily, it looked like, for WildHeart. We heard the battle cries coming out as Zergling is the damage.
I do want to continue this train of thought, adjusting on the draft a little bit for Granit Gaming and maybe what they could have changed. But of course, let's go ahead and find out where we're going to for map number 2, and then we can kind of discuss a little bit further about draft theory and prep for Sky Temple, the map where you can free Harrison Jones just below the boss from Tomb of Spider Queen. But WildHeart Esports will be choosing this map for us, as it is going to be the first pick priority from Granit Gaming. Now, Justin, the question that I want to pose to you in this is, you had mentioned that the Hanzo and the Anubarak are in this situation anti-synergistic, or the play style is anti-synergistic. Is it replace the Hanzo with X or replace the Anubarak with Y? Like, what's the direction you would go with as maybe like a draft coach or even the drafter in a game?
So it's not necessarily that they exclusively don't work together, but with what they're going against in the Diablo and the Blaze, it's really difficult to pick Hanzo into that and play to really do anything but try to fight the front line. If you dive into the back line against the Blaze, he's going to bunker whoever you're diving, and Hanzo's not the best at following up with that. All he has is the arrow, so he's going to contribute with an arrow, and if that's not enough damage to one-shot someone, which when you're against things like Blaze with bunker, it's really difficult, and then he's not really the best at killing Diablo either until level 16, so you kind of get into this weird situation where you really need to commit to either playing for poke exclusively and kind of staying out of their range, or playing completely for dive, which is a lot riskier. So I'm glad that they didn't play completely for dive, and when you first pick a Hanzo, you don't really want to play completely for dive either, especially not into all the counter engage that we saw from WildHeart. But it's kind of just a stylistic thing. I think it's partially that we have mentioned that Granit Gaming is historically they have a lot of veteran players who played the game primarily when the game was a little bit different, and back when it was kind of all of them playing in their prime, you could first pick Hanzo on BOE, and that was your race. He had the CDR on his W that procced off of anything, not just off of heroes. So you could play him as your only race. And the times have changed. That's not really a viable strategy anymore on BOE, and I think we sort of saw that come to punish Granit here in the game 1 of the series.
Grubby as well, did you have any thoughts, or did you want to talk about anything pertaining to Sky Temple maybe?
Yes, I did have thoughts. Thanks for asking. I was thinking, what do you guys think?
It's good to have thoughts, Grubby. I'm thinking about thoughts as well.
Yeah, they may even be decent. Wouldn't share any indecent thoughts. I was thinking, if you were to sub one hero, would it be good to sub out Anub'arak for Garrosh? Just retroactively, because you're against 5 melee. Yes, there's Cursed Bullet in the silence, but I believe you can hit Unstoppable if Brightwing cleanses you once when you're in silence. Then you're unstoppable for a couple of seconds, and you can use Bloodthirst and Taunt and whatnot. Maybe you can manhandle Diablo a little bit. That feels okay to me. Of course, Thrall is decent into Garrosh, but Garrosh shouldn't feel like he's the only frontliner into 5 divers.
Yeah, I think that would have been a lot better, for sure, swapping out the... I think the Anub'arak really just felt like extremely out of place with the rest of the comp, and just really hard to play into what they ended up picking as well. Pretty much every hero on the enemy team kind of just beats up Anub'arak. So it wasn't the... Yeah, something like a Garrosh, and then you could have even went to Tychus instead of Sylvanas if you wanted, and Stukov has no way to save you, so Granit's comp definitely was still salvageable, but it didn't go maybe the easiest route.
So this is before we get this pick, so I can explain everything. With the Diablo already picked on Granite, does this mean you instantly go for the Garrosh for WildHeart? Is it like an insta, like you get Diablo, I get Garrosh, or is this Tychus the answer now?
To me, Garrosh still feels like kind of a last pick. He has too many counters that gap him. That is to say, deal too much damage and do too many slows before you get near. For him to be an aggressive pick, you need a ranged assassin that can help engage, such as sometimes Junkrat or Hanzo, or Sylvanas with mind control. I love him most in the final pick, but I do like that Tychus. Like, it kind of seems like a good pick into Diablo still, no matter what. And it was also a little surprising to see Granite favoring Sylvanas over Tychus when you're presented with Diablo and Blaze.
Alrighty, well, I mean, we've got a lot of really cool stuff unfolding for Sky Temple. I do like this Dahaka, so we do have a global. We could see a potential Falstad, or maybe even some hammer bans here, Justing.
WildHeart did ban it as second pick in the last game, so I'm thinking that they probably don't play it, or at least they're not comfortable playing it, because I think we're getting to the point with, I believe last week you said it was something like 8-0 hammer, 100% win rate. I think we're getting to the point where if hammer is not being prioritized in the first pick, it should be on the first pick team to ban it here, like Granite is doing. I don't think that the second pick team should ever be able to get that. So for WildHeart to have banned it when they were the second pick team and still had the option to pick it last game, I think that most likely shows that they're not comfortable playing it, that it's not a playstyle that they want to play. But Granite not going to take that risk of playing into the 100% win rate Sergeant Hammer. Go ahead and ban it. I think that's smart, just to be safe either way.
We're going to get 2 more picks from WildHeart Esports. Still need a healer, a tank, and maybe even some extra wave clear. There's that Garrosh with the Stukov. I mean, the Stukov in last game was great, so was Zergling's Blaze. What are you thinking here, Grubby?
I love that we're going to see this, simply because it has been the standard counter to Diablo for so long, Garrosh and Tychus, and we just kept not seeing it. Diablo has seemed so popular and successful in most of the games that we've seen in CCL. And for Granite to willfully ignore it, now we're going to actually see what that's going to look like and how you can maybe counter draft it. Because Granite says that may well be Garrosh Tychus, but with Medivh, perhaps we can reverse our fortune and actually save Diablo. Positioning after Diablo Shadow charges in, he gets manhandled by Garrosh, boom, force of will, everyone else dives in, bada bing, bada boom, and yeah, maybe they can counter assault and win.
What are you thinking here, Justin? I'm sure you got a lot to break down for us.
Yeah, so the Medivh, while it is a good response to the Tychus Garrosh, that serves a good purpose there in countering both of those heroes and countering the whole playstyle of playing to one-shot the Diablo. So Breeze will be safe. The main issue that Granite is going to have is they're going to very much lack macro on a macro-focused map in Sky Temple. I was thinking about the Medivh here and if it was even pickable for Granite after seeing what WildHeart picked. I was not sure if they would even go maybe like a supportless comp to try to fit the Medivh in, because it's going to feel awkward for them with a lack of wave clear. The Haka's the only one who really has good consistent wave clear. This is why I've been playing Medivh comps with something like a Zul or a Maiev as your main tank, because it gives you a lot of wave clear and a lot of map pressure. Their composition does not do that. So it's going to be completely on WildHeart to play the map. They have the Falstad now to do that. I'm expecting WildHeart to be able to play around the Medivh by just running Granite Gaming around the map. Their comp lacks wave clear. We'll see if WildHeart can exploit that.
Well, thank you, Justin, because we're here, loaded on in. We got Granite Gaming in the blue. We'll be on the Dahaka, Smexy on the Karazi, Mazaret on the Medivh, Poik on the Sylvanas, and Breeze to play the Diablo. For the side of WildHeart Esports, we got Zergling to be played by, or playing the Blaze, Mason Blaze on the Tychus, Ivy Tings on the Falstad, Weirdy on the Stukov, and Haben on the Garrosh. Grubby, honestly, the last pick Falstad, that's kind of the big one for me for WildHeart. I think this is such a huge pickup, already getting also 6 stacks off of a Q. I think Falstad's super underrated. He's got so many great tools. Wind Tunnel at level 20 is almost a game-winning upgrade. I'm voting for WildHeart, but what are your thoughts here on the draft or even maybe on the outcome?
First of all, I think this is a record. 15 Q stacks for Falstad by 25 seconds in the game.
I have dreams of this. I have dreams.
Yep. that is insane. I am not a huge... Oh, Oik, Force of Will was already used. Because Ivy thinks... And, okay, this is how you want to play against Medivh. You want to threaten multiple people at the same time. Medivh saved himself with Force of Will. In fact, I don't think he would have died. He just was doing damage reduction. And then when Sylvanas got called, she had nothing left. Portal and Force went to Medivh. So that's how you want to play against Medivh in a micro sense. And Justin absolutely nailed it when he said that you defeat Medivh compositions with macro. Now, not every map allows for that. Tomb of the Spider Queen, notoriously, is rather a good map for Medivh because it's hard to out-macro people and to win with macro and just waves on Tomb of the Spider Queen.
Yeah.
But on Sky Temple, I'm not a big fan at all of double support. It works very rarely, and mostly only because the opponent didn't draft a Sky Temple-esque comp themselves that has 3 strong wave clearers and can give the runaround. Oh!
That drag was a little greedy. Another kill. For
No, he had to. He had to because Garrosh was unmounted, so it was the only way that maybe he could get away.
Oh,
That's
you
why
are right.
It was quite a good play, but he was not able to get enough distance from Garrosh.
That's what I was thinking, that maybe it was just like he dragged him and he's like, yes, this will stop me from getting thrown away. But Wubby does burrow back. I'm not
risky.
That's
risky.
That is. Now, can I say that's greedy?
I mean,
no, but still, that's another kill for WildHeart. Aggressive play.
So greedy, right? Greedy, high risk, high reward. Would you really take that risk to get that reward? But what was the reward here? How does the Haka with Medivh burrowing in a 2 versus 4 have a lot of win chance? What is the best possible result?
Maybe
it doesn't even feel like greed, just like a mistake.
Yeah, no, I think you're right.
You're being really nice to the players. I like it, but I gotta be the bad guy here and say like that's a low % chance to get results there.
This is why our good cop bad cop routine works so well with anyone we interrogate. It's such a good routine that we have going. But no, I
give him hope, tear him down.
I absolutely agree with you. I'm looking at the mini map right now. It's just Falstad matching Dahaka. Blaze was kind of threatening a little bit. We do have tower shots out from Granit Gaming, and Breeze is putting some pressure onto Haben, but with less than 50% HP, Haben's like, this is where I want to be with all that armor and the extra spell armor as well from this mid wave, because it looks like it is stacking as I do see it going to 44, but either way, there's some body blocking coming out of Toss, and Garrosh picks up another stack on his level 1. There's a lurking arm from the Stukov as Haben is being threatened by Azerite and Breeze, but now Mason Blaze, he's getting that big damage in, or at least he's attempting to, while shots from mid do go out from WildHeart Esports.
Very decent experience lead here for WildHeart. They do lose the top fort because this is one thing Granit Gaming did do. They pushed in the top wall. Now, of course, WildHeart wants to reciprocate Bahamut and get that mid fort.
Periodic catapult pressure as well as the passive experience gain that we've discussed in previous weekends of CCL. We do have Diablo stepping up here. Zergling maybe angling purposefully against a wall, so maybe he's a better target, but rather than Mason Blaze, but either way, it's no shadow charge to be pulled. A fort for a fort, 7-7 in levels. 3 kills though to WildHeart, and we should see them pull ahead soon but surely. I'm looking at Medivh scouting out, maybe an invade under the camp.
They're thinking about it. Look at this. Breeze coming in position. Wooby already here. They're just going to muscle up and actually show themselves. They show their entire hand. Granit Gaming shows every single member is here, and WildHeart takes the fight. There's Pyromania on Blaze. Got 40 armor. In comes Ivy Tings. Our siege giants, they say. They take the fight and they get away with it. No problemo. This is the type of fight where Medivh is supposed to shine. double support is best when together. Even there, WildHeart is not afraid, at least not yet. Maybe at level 10 or 16, things are going to be different. That's not a good sign for Granit Gaming. We've got WildHeart pushing in now. Siege camps belatedly being taken. As WildHeart makes a decision to play it safe. They're getting value. They don't want to overextend themselves. It is clear that they are playing for level 10, which they know they're going to get a little bit earlier than Granit Gaming.
Breeze a little far forward, but Azurite does have the protection. Breeze dropping low. Smexy comes in with some punches. Zergling turns around, needs to back away as Dahaka tries to flank. Haunting way forward from Poik. Smexy getting some more punches in as the Indomitable is popped. And overall, good aggression from Granit. Good defensive or back away retreat from the side of WildHeart. Meanwhile, I do want to point out, all during this, while all this pressure is being applied through bottom, we still have Falstad soaking top lane, closing the gap to level 10. And with 10 talent and the next objective being in bottom, WildHeart should prioritize the bottom lane objective because it will prioritize bottom lane fort, guaranteeing that fort to go down.
All eyes now on bottom lane. Poik trying to get away from Habin there as well. As you said, Falstad has been clearing, and Granit Gaming has repeatedly made the investment to bring their global for a larger 5-on-5 team fight. Here's a bit of a combo here. That's really nice job.
Yeah.
That's really nice job. 7-sided without any CC, just playing off of the proximity. Leyline seal on the backline. Granit Gaming gets their first kill in this game. Wooby also showed up, just in case. Starts to go back to the mid lane again. This was very important for Granit Gaming.
Yep.
And now, if they get this entire laser, they're even going to be on equal footing structurally. Bahamut.
I'm liking how Granit's playing the second half of map number 2 on Sky Temple, getting some great structural lead against WildHeart Esports, who have opted for just soaking up the lanes to close up any experience gaps that could start to form from this loss through bottom lane. Zergling down here just to soak up what could come through. And the Medivh providing vision to his allies. Really liking the Granit Gaming playstyle here as bottom lane fort falls, and we will see Granit ahead structurally by 1.
Yeah, love, despite the fear of the low wave clear against potentially a strong global and wave clear team in WildHeart, what Medivh does offer is he can safely scout around when things get tough. When you start losing forts and you don't have access to the watchtower, hold that thought.
Grenade
I'm surprised about.
Oh no. Huh.
He used the stealth pushback in order to push back Garrosh so that he cannot get CC'd. Ivy thinks, can he get away from here? He's being hunted. Gust?
Yeah, there's no CC to stop that flight, so he'll be able to get away with 50%. Okay.
Did you know you can still auto-attack him when he flies over you?
I didn't
listen,
know. I know.
It's so
like,
weird.
But actually, that makes sense because, like, if you fly over towers, like, you'll land and like there's like a tower shot or two that sometimes hits you. So it does make sense. That does actually make sense. Yeah.
Like sometimes you see people like land skill shots on literally flying Falstads, and it's certainly interesting. But yeah, you can't like shadow charge him out of it or anything like that.
It'd be funny if it was like the Kerrigan or like Cassie with Fend or Varian with Charge or Kerrigan with her Q. I can't remember the name off the top of my head. But like if you were to hit the Ravage mid-flight, do you just start ravaging across the map? The fight will break out. Let's focus in on the fight. Ivy Tings does not have Gust for 10 seconds. Here comes a Leyline Seal plus the Apocalypse. 7-sided strike as well. Haven getting low. Jump propulsion from Zergling. Azurite low as well, trying to back away. Set 20-some stacks on Azurite as he is forced away. Haven with like a sliver of HP manages to get out, but we do have the Blaze to fall. The Gust from the Falstad. The camp to go over to the side.
Medivh died to the minions!
No, the Nexus
back.
Force is doing way too much, and Granit Gaming, who seemingly were actually controlling this fight, things spiral out of control. Medivh stacks reset. Diablo losing 75 souls on the respawn. That was such a beautiful moment for WildHeart Esports.
Bahamut, Medivh ran away with 100 health. He ran through a minion wave. He knows minions can sometimes retarget.
Yeah.
He got scared. He force of willed himself. The fight went on. You have to get the siege camp. Your teammates are still there. What does he do? He goes back in the minion wave, and they turned on him. Traitors.
Oh.
I just opened the death recap. You know what it says for Medivh?
What?
You took 151 damage in 7 seconds.
No. Oh, that's a rough moment right there. We did have something cool really happen. It was kind of like Weary Day was kind of baiting like, oh, I'm so low on HP, and Breeze was trying to step in with Wubby, and Wubby almost went down. Now, once again, Wubby stepping up. There's a Leyline Seal. Apocalypse is not available. It actually just came off a cooldown. Wailing Arrow is, and that will be Garrosh going down. Looks like WildHeart needs to retreat. They do have the Gust available, but it seems like tower shots will come out from Granit Gaming as the Falstad finds a few more stacks on the queue. 66 currently.
Ah, pretty good, pretty good. Medivh, of course, got reset as the minions betrayed him. Dragtongue failed there. Oh, that's a big Stukov combo. Karazim trying to get away. Diablo gets pushed into the fort. Breeze trying to run for his life. There's a portal, but we've got members of Granit Gaming very low.
Boyk is going to get the Haunting Wave. Doesn't
Boyk!
activate the second one.
He didn't press the second E.
You gotta press the second E. It doesn't activate on its own as Breeze is gonna get chased. Is there a virulent reaction from Weary Day on the last pixel of Diablo? Beautiful.
Yep.
Oh no, the Q! The hammering!
Stacks.
That right there, that's 69 nice stacks for IB Tings to solidify that kill. That is as someone who plays a lot of Falstad, that is the most rewarding thing. You throw the Q, you know you get the kill, you just start turning around, you pop that and you get the kill. God, that is so rewarding. Very well played from WildHeart.
Did he really know though? He did 412 damage. It was 29 overkill on that Diablo. How much do you get per stack?
You get, what is it, 0.5%?
Yeah, okay, I can't parse that. I can't.
Yeah, I know. It's
that,
unfortunately it's a percent-based one, but here is the fight over the boss. The Gust from the Falstad. There's the Warlord's Challenge toss from the Garrosh onto Wubby. The Commandeer Odin is annihilating as much as it possibly can, and Wubby's trying to back away. The annihilation does get one more poke, but here is IB Tings should solidify the kill. The assumption is that will happen over on the right side of our screen. Medivh stacks reset. IB does get the kill. Lost to the side of WildHeart Esports. And
Hey!
nice job, Sexy. That's good. That was good. At least something, you know?
But Berserking is
wait,
not gonna get away with it!
The noise of kerosene punching is so good. But a keep goes down too. I feel like we that needs to be that needs to be one of the highlight moments for the week, but just put like Yakety Sax music to the back of it.
What's
Like
the sax?
like the Benny Hill music, like if you ever watch like Scooby-Doo when they all like run through all the doors and everything, like that same song that always plays in those chase moments, something like that.
I'll look it up. I'll look it up in the break. I have to get these references. This is important resume experience.
Oh, it
as
is.
a caster.
These are critical cultural things to know. But right now we will see a double temple phase, top and mid spawning. Do you want to jump into WildHeart comms again? Because I know Granit's going to be in a different language.
We can listen to some Swedish. They've had their moments. Let's listen to them and see if we can get some energy vibes.
Let's go to Granit.
Men vad är du skön?
Han var död, ni lovar. Titta här, han är uppe.
Ja, okej, vart är min charge där? Vart är min charge där?
Bara gör det. Nu är de här 5. Vi torskar core på
Kan
bot.
ni ge upp vision så kan jag deffa isen innan åtminstone.
Vi är upp vision, låter vi deffa lite. Vi är redo att contesta midbar, vi contestar midbar. Deffa bot, contesta mid.
Jag kan hålla handen på nu så kanske vi sätter.
Jag flankar.
I don't know.
Playing through the wave, maybe? Diablo could be under. I don't know where they are. Like, we just play shots. It's fine. Okay, that's Lei. We're gonna need help in the back. I need help. I can't move.
I'm dead.
I can't see anything.
You're fine.
Och
I guess I was too close.
A little back and forth swap right there from Swedish to English, and I think the big thing I heard was something about either not getting flanked on the side of Granit. Do you have any knowledge on the Swedish here, Grubby?
Yeah, I heard Granit saying contesta mid, but I don't know if they did want to or did not want to. And I heard flank, but that's all I know as well. Not much. Savannah's push with Black Arrow on the full HP fort. We see a big hammer coming in. Odin, Mason Blaze, doing some suppressive fire. They got 60% of a keep, really not bad for Granit Gaming, as they managed to win a very important team fight. they managed to win a fight when 2 temples were up, killing Garrosh and Blaze. This was really solid. A 2-man leyline seal and a really large apocalypse that Blaze and Zergling could not even activate his bunker. He got perm CC'd and taken down. Granite Gaming is making it very close. They now have equal experience and are even going to be on equal footing in terms of forts. This is impressive. And the boss, 1 minute and 26 seconds. Oh wait, there's one more charge.
One more charge. Medivh will get that shot. 4 stacks on said Medivh. Zergling and friends want to go in, but they see the portal and realize there's no chase to be had. It actually, Grubby, when I take stock of the map, I don't know the actual numbers on the 2 forts in mid, but it seemingly is equal. Like looking at the minimap, those 2 keeps in mid on either on the opposing sides look about, I'd say, a third, a quarter, based on the minimap. It's pretty equal, as there is 1 camp available. So WildHeart is saying, I wonder if the enemy's there. No, they don't step in. It's just WildHeart setting up in the bushes for their own Siege Giant camp. That Granite Gaming could be the one to sneak, but we do have the Dahaka showing in top as he does get that eye, that vision.
Oh, this is scary. This is scary stuff. Medivh is near though. Poik and Breeze running away. As WildHeart shows their hand. Every single one of them showing in the bottom wave. And you talked about those forts, those keeps. There's a 1400 health difference. About 5 Garrosh auto attacks.
Okay.
Who does 300 damage per auto. With a small lead for WildHeart. 6,900 against 5,400 or so.
Now, how many Abathur slaps?
Abathur slaps. I think he does about 80 damage right now. Maybe.
I could say that. I could see that. I could see
He
that.
does about 80. That's about 18 hits of Abathur slaps. But, and this is a shocker, he would not survive the counterfire from the keeper.
Oh no! And big shock on that one, Grubby. I think you might have just taught Twitch Chat something new. But it's 20s apiece. Boss is up. This could be the throw pit. Wind tunnel available. Everything is off cooldown. Contagion for the Dahaka. We've got that Medivh cheats. Double blink for the side of Granite, and we have the boss being tagged, leash, re-leashed, be re-tagged.
It's been leashed twice.
Yes.
This is interesting. This might have been on purpose. If you start taking down the boss, the 10%, the third leash would maybe that was the second leash. The third leash would be an instant reset in HP. If you ever want to start a boss but you're not sure, you have commitment issues, you could do a double leash into the Fog of War, then pull it again, then start fighting it. So that if you ever leave it, your opponents cannot take it over because it'll instantly go from 10 to 100%. Could be a play. Never really seen it being used intentionally, but that's
I do like that.
possible.
That's a good call out. Not everyone knows that if you leash the camps a certain amount of times, they regain health a little bit quicker, or a lot quicker actually. It jumps up quite significantly, but it seems okay. Tychus getting shots out into top lane. Azerite floating
that
around.
Keep, by the way, that keep is 10 HP.
In mid, really?
Yeah.
Now, Abathur would survive that one. That one, Abathur would survive. But here comes the Commandeer Odin. Mid lane keep does go down from these shots. Big red button to clear the way. Flank from Haben and Zergling as Dahaka reads that and gets the burrow, avoiding the jet propulsion. And we just have a trade onto the top lane objective. But now, look at Granite Gaming. I'm looking at the mini-map as well. Granite Gaming, they rotated through wave. This is a, hey, we're going boss, and you gotta either fight us or give it up.
Contagion, Leyline Seal that could reset. We have Epiphany on Kara team, so not 11-sided strike. Double Bolt of the Storm. Odin is finished. Garrosh gets blown up on the left side. The quadruple Leyline Seal, the portal. They're dragging Stukov into the apocalypse. Gust is trying to save him. And they're curbing their bloodlust, Bahamut. They're saying, we don't need more kills. We cannot afford to lose any more. Double Shadow Charge on Blaze. He's dead. He's a goner.
I honestly don't know why Zergling was over there to be Bahamut with you.
To be quite earnest, well, it's a Zergling, Lester, says Granite Gaming. He wouldn't be this far out unless... Oh, no, never mind. There are no Hydralisks here. We're fine. Another kill on the meantime on the right side. Force of Will. Azerite gets away with 218 health. Now he just has to watch out for the minions.
But is this lethal? Is this lethal, Grubby? That's the question.
I think it is. I think the answer is yes, probably. Poik is making sure to start working on that keep. Maybe they can even get more kills. That's double Shadow Charge. That's a drag tongue. That's a minus 15, minus 20 armor. Medivh does go down, but I think that's enough.
I think that could be enough. Contagion doesn't connect. Weary Day is going to be isolated, pushed around. Weary Day does get some self-healing as Kerosene goes down to... Oh, Kerosene lost his Arcane Rift stacks. Isn't that unfortunate? Haben's here. Massive shove. Oh, the little kill feed. The little kill feed for me showed the Karazim losing his Arcane Rift baseline stacks.
Really?
Yeah,
not for me.
yeah.
Not for me.
I actually looked over a production feed, didn't show it, so now I just sound absolutely insane. But the
You
boss.
sound so weird right now to me.
The boss is going to take down the core, and I really didn't expect this to be the series of events to unfold here, Grubby. I'm going to be 100% with you.
I did.
Oh.
Every single step. Yep, I did.
Okay. Well, the big thing, honestly, is it seemingly was like one team fight, Justin. Like, it feels like there was, like, for the most part of the beginning of the game, it was all WildHeart driving the map, but then Granit found one good team fight, post 10, around 13-ish, I think it was, and it all just kind of spiraled out of control.
Yeah, it was the fight around the middle objective, where we have a huge APOC that comes out and kind of turns the fight, and up until then, it did feel like WildHeart was really in control of most of the early game. It's somewhat to be expected that until level 10, they're going to be controlling the early game, as Granit has less wave clear, they have less macro pressure, and they also don't have quite the same level of kill threat without their level 10s as WildHeart has. WildHeart has the Garrosh Tychus that can kind of just run around the map looking for anyone, whereas Granit without level 10s can't really fight back. So it was cool to see Granit be able to trade evenly and even come out a little bit ahead on the first objective, considering their composition, they had no business being able to do that without the wave clear, without the kill pressure. So once again, we are seeing Granit having just a little bit more of a macro focus, even when their comp isn't drafted for it. And when it came to teamfights, I've got to be a bit critical of Haben on the Garrosh. His only job this game really needs to be to stay by his team and not be isolated, because the only way that Granit gets kills is if they use all of their cooldowns with their ultimates to isolate a target and use the 7-sided strike to take them down. Haben was caught a little bit too far forward in quite a few of these fights, and that was really the detrimental factor here in the late game team fights that Granit was winning. This was the last fight that WildHeart got the better of. This is where Medivh unfortunately goes down to the Winions, and it looked like WildHeart was going to be able to mostly seal the game off based off of this. The siege invade, getting the bot keep later on, setting up for a potential boss play later on to end the game, but we'll see that Granit is actually the team that plays for the boss and wins that boss fight, which is what wins them the game. It was all on that last boss fight, and the fight before that with the APOC that we'll likely see soon from Breeze. This is a cute little moment where SMX dives the fort to avenge his teammate, and Zergling not able to catch him here as the Blaze. It was strange to me to see the Zergling commit so much there at the end. It felt like WildHeart was a little bit caught off guard, both in the team fight when we listened to their comms. That did turn was like one of the big turning points where it felt like they're disjointed. And here Haben, look at how far he is from the rest of the team. He's completely isolated. You have the ley line into the back line that isolates all 4 other members. There's no reason for Haben to be that split, and that's something that we've heard quite a bit. I know there's a bit of a language barrier between them, and it was very evident that that kind of miscommunication, that slight disjoint in just team synergy was exploited to the fullest by Granit with their composition. It's designed to do it, and it does seem like that might be a bit of a weakness to WildHeart, that there is a bit of a disconnect sometimes between their Haben on his main tank and the rest of the team, where he's trying to play super aggressive all the time, and WildHeart maybe not ready to, be in position to follow up on that. So Granit Gaming, unexpected win. Honestly, the early game looked like WildHeart was going to be mostly in control of it. I can't help but feel like maybe if Haben had gone the Decimate build too, that would have helped, because it was a very light damage composition from the side of Granit, but they make it work, and they're proving kind of, as the season goes on, they're proving their veterancy and proving they still know how to team fight, they know how to do these things. There's a little bit of random moments, like where Poik didn't take his E, just like minor mistakes, but I think if Granit can clean that stuff up, they're strong players. They all have strong storied past. Granit maybe making a potential upset here, a series upset in the making potentially.
I mean, it wouldn't be the first time in the season so far, so it's all exciting stuff on HeroesCCL. We are going to get ready for that third map, and before we do that, we're going to let the players stretch their legs, get some water, and all that stuff in between. During this break, I encourage you all to hit ! prize pool. It'll get you over the match arena, and if you'd like to push our prize pool further, we're ever so close at $11,500. So if you want to push that prize pool a little bit further, it's always very much appreciated. But because of your support, we're at $11,335.11. And thank you all so much as well. But as I mentioned, we're going to go ahead and take a short little break. When we come back, map number 3 between Granit Gaming and WildHeart Esports. This is HeroesCCL presented by Wisdom. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and my of mains to HeroesCCL presented by Wisdom. My name's Bahamut, joined by Grubby and Justing. We had a riveting conversation about Benny Hill type music in the break, so we are getting ready for our next map in this first best of 5 of the day. You know what, Grubby? We'd said this before. We said this in the break, but actually, I want to bring this up on broadcast. I'm a little surprised that Granit ran that last game back. Like, I really thought WildHeart had it in the beginning, and I'm actually surprised and happy for Granit that they were able to run this back and this isn't going to be a quick 3-0 today.
Yeah, I liked SMX on an aggressive support a lot.
Yes.
I remember back when he was on Fnatic, he begrudged always having to play on Malfurion, which was one of the top meta picks then. He kind of got bored of it, and he wanted to play more Kharazim and other things. And, you know, on Storm League, he would play like more aggressive picks as well. It's fun to go and kill enemy players. And it looked good. One death Kharazim, more than 50%, only 50% less healing than the actual support on the other side, Stukov, who of course also has aggressive overtures, and a lot of cool kill confirmations, with some nice damage on sometimes an isolated Habin. Medivh looked pretty good too. Also got a little bit of a snippet there from some of the comms. We had Swedish comms. Luckily, we have a couple of Swedish viewers, perhaps many handfuls. And some of them translated some of the things that were said. One reference was like, "Oh, we're losing core on bot." Bot was getting pushed in. That was an awareness thing. And they were advising Poik that if he holds down his E, he has a better chance of getting his haunting wave E reset. So they actually brought that up. Like, hey, dude, they noticed that too. Him dying to death.
So I want to get Justing's thoughts on this as well, but I do want to let everyone know where we're going to for the third map, and then I also want to get Justing's thoughts on just that last map as well, because it is going to be Granit Gaming choosing to take us to another large map, or at least, well, I guess we're going to another large map chosen by Granit Gaming this time, as WildHeart Esports opted for first pick priority. But of course, Justing, any takeaways from that last map, or maybe anything you want to talk about as we're heading into Cursed Hollow map number 3?
Yeah, just exciting to see Granit scaling up as the season's progressing. It feels like they are getting better week after week, whereas not maybe all the teams feel like they're making the same levels of progression. I think Granit does feel like the team that's improving the most each week, and that's good to see. I think that they obviously have potential because all of them have played at the highest level possible in the past, but it's a much different game now than it was back when they were all in their primes, so seeing them be able to pick it back up again is really cool, and it's just really exciting seeing those players, those huge names making big plays still. Once again in 2022, it's a cool thing to see the SMX 7-sided strike, one-shotting a Garrosh when they're isolated with Leyline. It's cool to see all of this stuff coming together for Granit.
And the question I pose to these teams is, does WildHeart let Wubby get Dahaka again? Because the Dahaka drags were really, really good. Will Breeze be able to get Diablo? I mean, will Smexy get another Kharazim? Because I think all of those things could be utilized here on Cursed Hollow, Grubby.
Yeah, Diablo looked really strong, and it's also interesting because it was, again, a telegraphed early Diablo.
Yeah.
You can just counter it with Garrosh, Tychus, and that looked good for a bit. And is Medivh going to be the help there that keeps Diablo alive? And it turns out that was the case. Here, again, a map where I would not normally like double support, even if it is Medivh. But I feel very strongly about Sky Temple in that way, and Granit Gaming kind of blew that out of the water. They made it work. Even against a team that has better wave clear, just the vision and the protection layer that Medivh offered really helped them out here. So yeah, Dahaka looked great, Medivh, Diablo looked great. And Kharazim, yeah, I like what Granit did, and it's actually hard now to predict what we're going to be seeing from them, because this is supposed to be their strong map, right? Where they can play more macro and come together at the opportune time.
This is actually, I'm looking at the stats right over here. Granit Gaming are 2-0 on Cursed Hollow, and WildHeart Esports are 1-1 right now. 1 win, 1 loss. Justing and Grubby, I think I make the statement to both of you. I think if WildHeart wants to make sure that they solidify their standing spot and also don't want to get pushed around in the standings based on map wins and losses, they really need to bring out whatever sort of secret plays or big artillery in this game. I do think like shutting down Granit as quickly as possible should be the priority for WildHeart, but will they go for some of those interesting picks? Will they look for a Hammer or something here? Because Cursed Hollow, I feel like, is one of those great maps where Hammer can kind of go do Hammer things while you team fighter
There's the Junkrat. Diablo, also banned by Granite, is a little bit strange. It seems that the priority for both of these teams, both in Haben as well as in Breeze, have just insane priority onto the Diablo. We have seen Diablo priority just steadily rising as the season's gone on, but to see it just first banned here, a little bit strange. The Blaze and Hogger are both still available, so the expectation is for potentially one of them, maybe a Brightwing, as it is a large map, and the other two globals have been banned away for Granite. There's the hammer.
So
I really thought we were gonna get Blaze Brightwing right here. Like you said, Justin, 2 globals gone. They're gonna want to have a healer like that, a global like that early.
And the Rhaegar for the side of WildHeart Esports. So we are back. Sorry about that, everyone. We are back live. A little hiccup, but let's keep casting the draft because, Justin, there's a lot that unfolded, and if you could break everything down for everyone at home with the last pick, Asmodan! Yes!
Wow.
Yes! I don't think they win, but yes!
So, okay, I'm a bit biased here, I guess. I don't know. I think Asmodan is good. I think he's just objectively a strong hero. He did have to get nerfed relatively recently because of how strong he was. I think both his builds are pretty strong. They did buff the Q scaling somewhat recently. So there's either Q build with the scaling being increased, but there was also the baby build where you drop the babies down, the ultimate. The demonic invasion, where you would kind of just backdoor structures and throw that down on cooldown. I'm kind of afraid for what Granite Gaming might do to the meta after seeing how they learned how to play the game in the past 2 weeks, where they realized that it's okay to kind of throw one target, one player to kind of create a distraction while the rest of your team just goes in sieges and does kind of sneaky rat jam stuff. Seeing that from Granite makes me kind of worried of picking the Asmodan, potentially going with the demonic invasion build and just backdooring on cooldown while Hammer is doing stuff somewhere else. I'm kind of expecting that to be the case, as they also have the Johanna and the Blaze to just stop sieges everywhere else. We're going to see if Granite Gaming is going to break the game and ruin the fun for everyone else starting off of this game with the siege comp.
Hey, I love an Asmodan. Thank you so much, Justin, for the breakdown as we are back in here. We're ready to go. Let's get you all introduced on who's on what. Smexy on the Asmodan, Azerite on the Hammer, Wubby to play the Blaze, Breeze on the Johanna, and Poik on the Tyrande. Looking over at the side of WildHeart Esports, we've got Zergling on the Hogger, Weird Day on the Rhaegar, Mason Blaze on the Junkrat, Haben on the Anubrek, and Ibetings on the Hanzo. Grubby, I will say this. I wrote down WildHeart, but part of me wants to write Granite Gaming just because I love Asmodan so much. I'm not going to change my vote, but I do want to get your thoughts here as to what we could potentially see, because I think Justin alluded to kind of what I'm also thinking what would happen is just mass siege and over siege to the point where WildHeart just gets over sieged into the entire game and they can't deal with it.
Yeah, we'll see if that's going to happen. And, you know, I know with our audience back now, I know you're not going to have caught all the amazing knowledge that we brought to you in the draft as the draft unfolded. Tyrande here, a strong vision tool and poke.
Yes.
I kind of like Asmo and Tyrande together. Oh, actually, they're not going to be together for much longer, are they? But that's a 4-man, right? That's a 4-man.
That was some Warcraft 3 body blocking right there.
Yep. I like the double poke that Asmo and Tyrande can do, and if you actually add BFG, that's like a 2,500 damage nuke from across the map, potentially, right? BFG, Asmo Q, and then an Owl with Owl build, and he did go for Owl build, so that's really interesting. But this is a strong push comp. Oh! Wow, what? That Impale is sick!
Haben does play a very, very good Anubrak. I don't think we've actually seen much of his Anubrak in CCL. I know I've been able to catch it in some other grassroots leagues that I've casted. He's played 4 games of Anubrak thus far in CCL this season, this being his 5th, but that's 2 really good kills early on from body blocking and also dive. Invade onto the camp from Haben.
I
don't know.
Hanzo's coming, Rhaegar's coming. Everyone get in here.
Laser from Smexy is going to chunk Haben. Body blocking's there. There's the burrow charge out as Azerite will be split. Haben gets out with a sliver of HP. Oh, is there a Tyrande Owl?
Oh! Close! Very close!
Nice kill. Another kill from WildHeart here. Doing a great job early game of building an experience gap and also building a siege gap too.
Yeah, a really big siege gap. I mean, WildHeart is hardcore winning the early game. I would expect no different. It's also interesting to see that Poik is the one playing on Tyrande, SMX, the healer normally.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Whoa! Weary Day just bit himself inside the fort. That was interesting. Did you know that happens?
I guess you can bite through the gate onto a minion, maybe? It seemed like he was in wolf form, and that was the case, but... Oh, Weary Day is going to get low. Wubby comes out, doesn't land the jet propulsion. Haben's here. Breeze in the backline, trying to put pressure. Pops the Iron Skin, backs away. But bottom's going down.
Yeah, it's going down. I'm yelling timber, you know what I mean? Because Junkrat is pushing in hard here. Asmodan doesn't really have good wave clear until level 7 with laser build. If he's going laser build, and he is probably not, I want to say, I would expect the Global Annihilation talent at 7, Art of Chaos, I think it's called.
Yes, that is the one.
And then with Tide of Sin at level 10, then it gets a little bit better. He's just kind of weak at level 1 to 9, and WildHeart has been exploiting that hardcore. Hammer right now is in a duel against Zergling.
Oh no, Poik!
Oh, wow.
I don't know why Poik was so... Oh, Concussion Mine, right, sorry. I was like, how did Poik end up over there? I was looking at everything and looking at talents and such, but that's a first fort to fall to the side of WildHeart Esports, and... Well, not just yet, but Haben will get interrupted once by a dunk of Smex. He did go into the Gluttony at level 1, which is going to give some extra stacking when hitting enemy heroes. Gives you cooldown reduction by 0.25 seconds on your Global of Annihilation per minion hit. Double that, so 0.5 seconds into heroes. But right now, we have that build, as you were mentioning, Grubby, that Art of Chaos. We also have the Battleborn, which is going to be the ability to summon more of what Justin likes to call the babies.
The demon babies, all kinds of different babies. And we also see the first time in CCL Season 4, maybe ever, I want to say, the concussive mine build from Junkrat. Very comfortable against the big target of Asmodan, hard to miss, on the narrow pathways of Cursed Hollow, and of course against the rather slow and big target of Sergeant Hammer. You slow people for 40% for 2.5 seconds after they land, and you have a 4-second cooldown after you pop someone with a concussive that you just cast. Or in other words, you get a cooldown reduction of 10 seconds.
I like this trap build that we are going to be seeing from Junkrat. I think it's also, with Hammer being so stationary, Asmodan slowing himself with the laser.
Yeah.
Like, I think this is a very smart build because, as you had mentioned, Bogged Down is that 40% slow. That is just a great way for Rhaegar, Hanzo, Anubrak, even Hogger to close the distance and get good damage. But right now, boss on the top right for the side of WildHeart. Objective phase is looking good for WildHeart as well. Breeze checks the bush with a shield glare. Not sure if they saw Mason Blaze. I don't think Breeze did. I'm going to check his vision really, really quickly. He's in the bush, does get hit with the steel trap. And Breeze, as we look at the minimap, is all by himself. And we'll see if WildHeart really buys the sale that Breeze is kind of alone here. Boss does go over to WildHeart.
Cocoon on Blaze. No bunker yet.
Concussion Mine set up perfectly.
You'll be able to concuss it twice at this rate.
Jet propulsion. Wubby just tries to go in a different direction, but unfortunately, tower shots reduce your armor to -20, and Blaze goes down. 7th kill to the side of WildHeart Esports.
Yep, pretty one-sided so far, but don't forget, Granit Gaming also was behind in the first game, in the second game on Sky Temple, and then were able to bring it back as Breeze goes in. Level 10s were very important for this team. Asmodan now has wave clear. Let's see if they can get good use out of it. This is the Asmodan build, the PvP build, not the Demon build. Armor dies in the bottom lane against Ivy Tinks and Mason Blaze. Falling Sword for protection against the dive.
Breeze has been delaying out Haben the entire time, but to be honest, Breeze's delay hasn't really been, like, bad for WildHeart. They've gotten a kill in bottom, they're getting siege through mid. And WildHeart's just gonna go steal a boss away. I think Haben may be annoyed in comms if we were to go listen, but I'm sure WildHeart, the rest of the crew is like, no, just keep doing the tank battle. We're getting so much value.
Yeah, no problem at all for WildHeart. 2 tanks are AFK, and somehow it seems that Granit Gaming needed their Johanna more for protection, because their Hammer, their Asmodan, their Tyrande have kept dying. Everyone except Breeze has 2 deaths so far. Asmo, Hammer, Blaze, Tyrande. And it's been tough. It's been tough. So WildHeart looks like they're going to be able to get the 2 towers here. A lot of damage on the keep, I would say. And Asmodan is severely understacked. 104 right now is not good by Storm League, let's say, standards.
Yeah, I was actually going to make the exact same note just as you were finishing up that thought. But here we go. We have a Riptire from the Junkrat, a Falling Sword from Johanna. A bit of a split fight. As we zoom out further, Falling Sword from Johanna has kind of split Breeze, and the members of WildHeart will capitalize on top of that. Huge arrow into Poik. Haben going for the body block. Actually, I think Poik is still like just chasing out, looking for more here as the fort through mid falls. Cocoon onto the Sergeant Hammer. Wubby is going to be shockwaved in the top of our screen. Zergling with the god tier flank. Pentakill to the side of Granit, or to the side of WildHeart Esports, and this will be keep, I don't think, game.
Yeah, this is honestly so confusing. Like, if you're tuning into some competitive HoTS and you're watching a team that are 1-4 in the league and 3-2 in the league, and the score is 1-1, and then you hear the stats. Granit Gaming, our blue team here, is 2-0 on this map, and you see this draft coming out. Actually, you guys only saw some of it because of the small little disconnect. But anyway, this draft comes out and you think, oh, this is good here, and then it just doesn't look good at all. So what's happening here? Well, WildHeart is just making sure to come in strong. They're not playing passively, seeing what this might be, and just kind of splitting and playing to Granit Gaming's game. No, they know they've got much more kill power, they've executed well, and whatever Granit Gaming's plan was, we may not be 100% aware of it. It looks like there's a lot of push power between Blaze, Hammer, and Asmodan. But how much kill power is there? And they weren't able to stay alive in the lanes, even though the lanes are pretty short distance. So it looks confusing.
Yeah.
And it's hard for us to really make more of a story out of it than really what we are seeing here, because this is pretty one-sided.
The way that I'm looking at this is, it reminds me of playing against like a, hold on, I'm going to hold that thought really quickly, because Granit Gaming will try and step in here. Haben is forced to burrow charge to the top lane, but the fort does go down as Tyrande scouts out with a Sentinel. We do have the Hammer coming in with that hover siege. Breeze around 50%. No Lunar Flare to connect, as that's a lot of damage onto Wubby, who's dropped below 50%. Poik very far away. The bunker comes down from Blaze. He's got some armor. Haben goes in with the burrow charge. I thought I just completely lost where even Haben went. Shockwave connects onto 2. That's a staggering blow. Wubby low. Good bounce from Hogger. Falling Sword from the Johanna. And that's a Cocoon onto this Asmodan. Concussion Mine will split Smexy away. Haben gets the channel. That's another kill. That's a curse. And they hold for a second. Why?
Boss in 18 seconds. You want to take the boss, and then 10 seconds after you capture the boss, that's when you get the curse. So much confidence right now for WildHeart that there's no way that this could lead to a throw, losing distribute, missing a window.
Yeah.
They're gonna just take the entire map first. Bruiser camp into boss. They want to make sure that this boss could maybe go core with 1 or 2 more kills.
So while we have this lull in the game right now, and I want to get back to that point that I had, and correct me if I'm wrong, but this kind of feels like WildHeart took the approach of, my enemy has a Vikings and we need to be ahead in experience by X point in the game to just constantly win out every fight. It kind of feels like that's what WildHeart's doing in their playstyle. Early game, they were super aggressive, they built a lead, and now they're holding this lead, which is forcing Granit to constantly turtle up, be back. They can't step out and get this god tier siege or whatever siege that Granit was trying to do. That's at least the feeling I get from the WildHeart playstyle. It's aggressive, but it is tactically aggressive with a purpose.
Yeah, they were on a need to perform. I think you're 100% right in that, Bahamut, because if they just say, well, we can win any time, there's no rush, then suddenly you're against Asmo that sometimes soaks mid-wave, Hammer, or a Blaze that pushes top, and a strong 3 to 4 man bot with Hammer protection that can just kind of resist what you throw at them. As the boss comes onto the court, this is probably gonna be it. One of the least competitive games so far that we've had. I would have loved to see the draft work, but it didn't really because of WildHeart's strong early game play and never making a critical mistake.
And I think, Grubby, you put it perfectly. WildHeart did not make any critical mistakes. They may have lost one, but that is right now at the end. GG to WildHeart Esports. So they close out. Oh, go ahead, please.
We're gonna need some help here making sense of this from our analyst, Justin. Justin.
That's a tall order, Grubby. I'll do my best. So as the game progressed at the beginning, or like once the objective started to spawn, it felt like maybe what Granit's comp was supposed to do was to stall the objective forever and allow Sergeant Hammer to split push and Asmodan to split push. That's sort of what it felt like. So they do have a composition that's built around that. It felt like their comp was just designed to be super annoying. You have the Blaze stuff that can throw on the floor that can stall. You have the Johanna E, which we saw that quite a bit. Breeze was basically just assigned to being at the objective at the tributes at all times. You have the Owl from Tehran. You have Asmodan with Qs. So you have mostly semi-global stalls. Well, Sergeant Hammer split pushes. But that's obviously not what happened, as WildHeart just would leave one member to deal with the tributes, and the rest of them would just push somewhere else. And wherever Hammer is pushing, they are pushing into Mason Blaze on the Junkrat, who is what I've termed, or what I've been calling the goalie heroes, where you can't really siege into them. They can defend a lane very easily by themselves. And that was what happened, is Sergeant Hammer is unable to really siege. The rest of them can stall, but they're only stalling one member, while WildHeart is just getting value everywhere else. WildHeart also just playing super aggressively together, looking for a lot of proactive things on the map. You had really good synergy between Mason Blaze and Haben playing the Junkrat and the Anubarak. Every time a Cocoon came out, there was always the Junkrat with the concussive blast ready to knock them out of it and be able to one-shot the target off the Cocoon. And I think that's what Granit Gaming's comp was designed to do. I think it was supposed to be kind of a cheese comp for the map where they just stall forever. But Granit Gaming not making it work out in this game. Would have rather seen something like a Deathwing with the level 7 meatballs. I think that does it a little bit better and a little bit safer. It's hard to really analyze this game as it was very strange, and obviously the strategy that Granit Gaming was going for didn't quite work out. But WildHeart playing this game very clean, still not phased by the weird stuff that Granit was playing. They looked really on point and maybe a little bit angry after their last loss, where it felt like they were kind of in control for most of the game and just had some late game team fights that didn't quite go their way. So WildHeart looking super scary in this last game and not having any of Granit Gaming's shenanigans, even holding this last tribute. After getting the 2-for-0, holding it to get the boss so that they would have the boss curse, so that they would have an actual win condition. I like to see that. We have seen some teams taking curse just because they can. WildHeart having the restraint to wait to get the boss with it so that they have a win condition with it. Good to see from them, but WildHeart's looking a little bit scarier in the last game. Granit Gaming's comp unfortunately not working out for them.
I have to be extremely critical of the Asmodan. If you're going to grab it and you're going to have, 170-something stacks by the end of a game, I really don't think that's the call. Like, I got to be critical of that. It's just, and we talked about it in the game as well. I mean, that's a stacking talent that you should easily be able to get extra stacks off of heroes with cooldown reduction, waves, and everything. So either way, unfortunately, Granit Gaming will not be able to make one of the best characters in Heroes of Storm work or look good, but let's go ahead and find out where we're going to for map number 4, and we can talk about these drafts and the series a little bit further, as WildHeart Esports will be choosing to take us to the map of Tomb of the Spider Queen. And now, Grubby, in 5 weeks of play that we've seen, we have not had a single Tomb game from the members of WildHeart Esports. This is the first Tomb game in 6 weeks, and you know, my favorite thing to bring up on Tomb is how good Cho'Gall can be, right?
Or Zul'jin.
Or
Was
Zul'jin. I agree,
it
yes.
WildHeart that ran Zul'jin here?
I think it was Simplicity last season, was it not, with Hosty?
Simplicity with Hosty. Oh yeah, they ran some Zul'jin. I think WildHeart was looking at that enviously, wanting to run Zul'jin. We saw some triple support Zul'jin sometimes in CCL on Tomb of the Spider Queen, quite cool. And maybe on Volskaya, I'm not 100% sure about that. But
that sounds right, yeah.
We have seen some cool drafts. I'd love to see like a Zul Stukov Nazeebo as well. That was really nice. I don't know if that still works, if that still flies. But we'll see what exactly we'll get as Tomb of the Spider Queen, map number 4 between Granit Gaming and WildHeart takes off right here, right now.
No, we're in the draft, and, well, Justin, any thoughts on what either of these teams can do to whether it be WildHeart closing things out or Granit Gaming to take us to a Game 5?
I'd like to see WildHeart take the Asmodan themselves here, as this is a much better map for it, and maybe we can redeem all the Asmodan mains out there. SMX trying to make us look bad, trying to make us get flamed when we pick it in Storm League first pick, or when we maybe need a tank or an offlane and I pick Asmodan and my team gets mad at me. I'm sick of having all this hate towards the Asmodan, so I'd like to see WildHeart maybe pick it here and make it make a good showing for it and show how powerful Asmodan can be. I think that the hero is actually quite strong, and maybe just a little bit better on a smaller map like Tomb here, where you can get the stacks in the mid and top rotation. Not so much on a huge map like Cursed Hollow. It's a little bit better here, so if I wouldn't mind seeing him play it again. I'm curious what Granit's strategy will be after the last game. I think what they're going to be doing is a little bit more up in the air. WildHeart, much more of a predictable team here in this last game.
This was actually super obvious that they wanted to first pick Diablo. The Diablo team won game 1 and 2, one apiece. Then Diablo was banned by Granit because they didn't want to give it to WildHeart anymore. Then they banned Tychus, which never gets banned in the top 2 picks. So it was obvious they wanted Diablo first, and WildHeart knew that, so they removed Medivh, which they felt was a large part of why that even worked in the first place on Sky Temple. Nonetheless, they won't have access to Tychus. They may still be thinking about Garrosh, but they're not. They're going to go Blaze and Johanna. That's very interesting. I wonder what their plan is going to be to deal with Diablo with just having a Johanna and a Blaze.
Well, obviously, Grubby, it's the Johanna to group up the waves between mid to top so that Asmodan can get a full range of stack, and then Asmodan just goes for the level 7 upgrade on his laser, and then he just hits that laser onto enemies as well, getting more stacks, chunking Diablo and Brightwing and Chromie so easily. The copium isn't just overflowing everywhere on my desk. It's totally reasonable. Right, Justin? Right?
I'm not sure where your copium's at right now, Baha, but I'll take your word for it. I think that WildHeart does need something to deal with the Diablo right now. I think Granit's composition is already looking significantly better than last game, and just good in general. You have Brightwing, Diablo, a very strong combo. You have Chromie on Tomb, which is also super strong, having the Slowing Sands option to just slow siege at any point you want, and also just having the, forcing the enemy team to have some kind of a response for a potential temporal loop as well. You have WildHeart with not a whole lot shown. Greymane is kind of the expected ban here, as they do need something to deal with the Diablo, and Greymane has been a bit of a favorite for WildHeart. They've banned away the Sergeant Hammer, so kind of showing that WildHeart maybe doesn't play it at all themselves. But no, we'll see the Maya banned away, so if Mason Blaze wants it on the side of WildHeart, he does have the option to go into the Greymane with the Curse Bullet to deal with that Diablo.
Alrighty, well, Grubby, any thoughts on some bans and the couple picks that are coming through?
Anduin is an interesting pick. Anduin and Vala. I had previously not always been a huge fan of Vala into Diablo, simply because, yes, she has Manticore, but doing that kind of damage into Diablo exposes her to his engage for a long time. Anduin is going to help a little bit there, maybe. Really just hoping to stack the auto attacks from Vala, and I guess this is a map where tank must step up to get the gems, so she gets a lot of guaranteed stacks. Her matchup into Chromie is also a little bit difficult, so I'm actually kind of liking the draft for Granit Gaming so far. Cassia has always been a solid counter into Vala. And Hogger coming in as well. I like it a lot. So far, I love Granit's draft. I don't know how WildHeart can salvage this. Yeah, I don't know. Because they have neither dive, nor are they particularly good at killing Diablo.
Oh, Justin. What do you think about this last pick to Zebo? Because
Zebo?
maybe that's what they needed.
I like that a lot. It gives them sustained damage. It also is good on the map. It gives them good level 20 insurance. But outside of that, Granite Gaming's comp is looking quite strong. You have a very sustained focus comp from WildHeart with between the Vala and Nazebo, some of the most sustained damage dealing heroes that we have. The Anduin Johanna Blaze is good protection for the Vala and Nazebo, so that's good. They have 2 hyper carries with 3 heroes mostly dedicated to keeping them alive and keeping them doing damage. The main concern is that Chromie and Diablo, like Grubby mentioned, are very difficult to play into if you are a Vala, as your range is quite short and you have point-and-click CC from potentially both of them, but at least the Diablo. You also have just the slowing sands option for Chromie makes it very difficult for Vala to ever be in range. If Diablo, played by Breeze, and Chromie, played by Poik, are playing well together, the slowing sands can kind of peel for Diablo in a sense, and if he can play around it, it creates sort of a space where Vala's unable to actually focus him, and allows him to kind of play for engages while being really safe from the Vala. The Nazebo I actually like quite a bit. It does kind of... It makes their comp a lot less one-dimensional than it would have been otherwise with mostly any other pick, because it has a lot of sustained damage as well. They now have 2 hyper carries, but overall I think Granite Gaming's composition does look quite better, and it's a lot of pressure on the 2 carries for WildHeart to be able to perform, but they do have potentially the best range duo in the league. I've called for that, so we'll see if they're able to carry this game.
Well, thank you, Justin, as always. I'm excited to see this Nazebo myself, but let's go ahead and introduce Granite Gaming in the blue, Azurite on the Cassia, Webby on the Hogger, Poik on the Chromie, Breeze on the Diablo, and Smexy to play the Brightwing. On the side of WildHeart Esports, we're looking at Zergling on the Blaze, Ibitings on the Vala, Weary Day to play the Anduin, Haben on the Johanna, Mason Blaze on that Nazebo. Did go Things of the Deep at level 1. I honestly think that this is a map that WildHeart, they haven't shown anything here, Grubby, and so it's kind of there's no information per se, or there's no information for the side of Granite Gaming to take away from previous games. So I think WildHeart actually, they've got something interesting here that they can utilize with no information on their playstyle for the map, and with this Nazebo and the Vala, I think WildHeart can do this. I think they can close things out in a 3-1. What do you think about all this, though?
I think Granite Gaming has the much better draft here, and if I were to not look at their respective scores in the league standings, it would be a hands-down prediction for Granite Gaming for me right here. With moves like this, though, you know, that kind of just shouldn't happen. How did Hogger not have his E available anymore? He must have used it on the wave. These are the kind of mistakes that kind of happened last game as well, beyond the draft, beyond the team fight, beyond the macro. You just stand in lane and you are killable by a slow and a root like that as a solo laner. That is a bit of an issue. But early game deaths don't mean too much. Granite Gaming is overcompensating, knowing this is probably a siege cap. All of them are going to come over here. Here's a time trap. What's the time trap going to do? Not used yet. There we go. That's a stun from Blaze coming out of the time trap. Cassia pressuring Ivy teams on the back line. I don't know who's going to come out ahead here. Hogger, for some godforsaken reason, decided to start the Bruiser camp rather than coming in to help, and it's gonna cost him a Diablo.
Zergling almost dies to the fend of Cassia, but everyone on the side of WildHeart backs away. The siege camp does go to the side of Granite Gaming, and Cassia picks up her 9th stack on her level 1. Valo did go W build, Fire at Will, an uncapped quest that does gain more stacks beyond the 20 mark. Once you hit the 20 mark, you get a jump in damage for an extra 40 damage on top of the 40 damage you already have. So we'll continue to see that scale up throughout the game. We'll do some caster math for you all later and figure out what that damage looks like, maybe around 16. And Nazebo gonna be going into Blood Ritual, another way to build up more stacking.
Yeah, Blood Ritual is actually more stacking from takedowns, but mostly what it does is it gives you near infinite health and mana when you kill minion waves. It is a very good talent. Brightwing got stuck in the Nazebo wall. Nazebo taking heads and making potions with them.
The voodoo doctor's got another head for its potions, but yeah, that was actually, I was wondering, I was like, how did Brightwing kind of get stuck in there? There was just so much in that engagement with the camp, the players, just everything stacking on top of each other. But speaking of stacks, 54 stacks for Mason Blaze right now. That's really good. What I've heard from previous Nazebo players in the past is you want to average 10 stacks per level, because by level 20 you're at 200, but you also have a little bit of wiggle room because it's 175 for that level 20. So the pacing for Mason Blaze is good, but also the reason I bring up this stack specifically is his level 1, because at 50 he gets 5% spell power, at 100 he gets additional 5%, a total of 10% spell power, which is great for really chunking people with the spiders, potentially the Ravaging Spirit. We could see Annihilating Spirit at level 20 for healing reduction as well. Really, really good scaling for WildHeart. And this is what I'm liking about this draft, and it's being showcased throughout this map as well.
This is the Dead Rush level 7 for Nazeebo. This is a very good win rate talent when you're not going for full spiders. And I think even if you go for full spiders, Dead Rush is the best, as it gives you a lot of extra chase and preventing people from mounting up after casting that zombie wall. It's nice to stop turn-ins as well. And speaking of turn-ins, WildHeart gets their first turn-in right here. The Web Weavers shall be summoned.
3 kills behind these Web Weavers as well for WildHeart. Now, what do they prioritize? Is it the top lane for the boss? Is it bottom lane for the Siege Giants? Or is it straight through mid for the Bruiser Camp and easy rotation poke? Right now, Hogger does get the Dense Blasting Powder extra wave clear, but Zergling's here to work on this fort front gate with the rest of WildHeart, who seemingly split Haben to top.
This is really good damage for the first Web Weaver phase. 2 towers down, half a fort, maybe more. Big push here coming in from the lethal double range duo and Mason Blaze and Ivy Tinks. Vala not quite done yet. Hits with another. Look at those zombies still going ham on the fort. 10% left. Top wall's gone. Bottom wall still intact. But the mid fort has been greatly damaged. Temporal Loop comes out. I mean, he has access to it.
Oh, I was like, what's happening? Where's the temporal loop? But yeah, Wubby will be getting this camp. Haben will scout this out with the shield glare. Ibitings is here. It doesn't actually. Oh wait, temporal loop onto Weary Day, but a lot of damage goes onto Breeze, who is not gonna get. I say this every week. Right wing phase shift is it's 1 second. It's one singular. It's 2 seconds. Ancestral's the other one. 2 seconds, but that felt like 4 that it just took the Diablo to actually get that phase shift. Still, the members of WildHeart. Really, I wouldn't even say pull ahead. They are lunging ahead of the members of Granite in experience with 10 talent tier coming through in a wave or two.
Yeah, I think that it's just a little bit of a skill difference here. I still feel like it is the much better draft for Granite Gaming, though we can see how Vala and Nazeebo are getting value. What is interesting, though, is that Nazeebo is able to, and is allowed, as a backline range damage dealer with no escape, to continually, since the start of the game until now, double soak.
And Mason Blaze finishes out that level 1, the Things of the Deep, so 10% spell power for the Nazeebo, but also the baseline upgrade for Things of the Deep is that 20% range increase on all of your abilities, so Zombie Wall, Toads to be thrown out, or I guess, not Toads, excuse me, the Spiders to be thrown out, can be thrown a little bit further, as Zergling is going to get Shadow Charge, a fight breaks out, a Leap of Faith, there's a Shield Glare onto a few of Granite Gaming from Haben, but it seems like the full disengage will be out from WildHeart as 10s are up. We do have that Ravenous Spirit from the Nazeebo. Big ol' slappy ghost coming through.
It's Ravenous Spirit, yep. Light Bomb, Strafe. Wow, Strafe, not Rain of Vengeance. Really going in with the AoE damage. And it is Blessed Shield. He picked it. That's a Blessed Shield.
Uses it
immediately. I love it. I love not
Strafe,
picking ults right until you pick it and then use it in that very moment. It's a little bit higher skill requirements, but it allows you to kind of have more the element of surprise.
You know, Grubby, we're in a little bit of a lull, actually. Can you explain to chat really quickly, how do you quick pick a talent? Because maybe some people don't know these things.
Yeah, you can do Control 1, Control 2 if you remember which one is which. If you want to pre-pick the talent, you can actually open up the talent tree with Control. You can click on the ability that you want to get on a talent tier that you do not have access to yet. It's going to put a heart on it, and then you can set up a hotkey in your hotkey menu that says Quick Choose Favorite. You can put this on a single hotkey or on a combination hotkey, and then you can just quick pick it and then immediately use it.
There you go. Just if any, because we've talked about this in the past, and it's just quick picking it's something I've worked on. It's not the easiest. You have to kind of know all the talent trees, or at least the ones that you're specifically using that day. But an attempt onto Zergling through the bottom lane, but he's able to just stay safe. The blue Web Weavers do descend. Vala continues to poke out. 46 stacks for the Fire at Will. 140 for the Nazeebo, but a Chastise connects onto one. Light Bomb as well. There's the Cassie to fall, as we have a lot of damage onto Hogger, who tries to spin away. He will get a decent spin, but Ivy Tings is right over here. The big Slappy goes coming through, cleaning up. We got a triple kill to the side of WildHeart Esports.
Yeah, Cassio was just too far forward. He was playing forward with a kind of impunity. Brightwing phase shift wasn't even prepped on it, so it wasn't like a calculated bait. I saw it, WildHeart saw it. They went for Cassia, and it worked. Let's look at it again.
Yeah, let's look at it again, please.
This was supposed to be the glory moment for WildHeart. Look at Azerite. He's playing inside the bruiser camp of the enemy. Inside 3 members, all the way in front of everyone else before Breeze arrived. And he was just less shielded and killed. This is Granit Gaming just not being where they should be. And sadly, that has been the case sometimes in this series so far. A little bit too far forward. Just, they need to get punished a lot. And then they will slowly learn from their mistakes. As Granit Gaming takes the biggest risk of all, without level 13 talents, against Turn-In. They are 5v3 right now, and they've got Hogger. They should be fine. They do take a boss.
But will they die in the pit? That's the question to be answered right now. As the boss gets a big stun, it'll be mitigated by the bunker from Blaze. As Hogger gets a shockwave, Leap of Faith will be saving Zergling. The ball lightning spreading from player to player as the Webweavers do descend. Hogger spins in. Wubby is going to get hit with a light bomb, as well as the Chromie. That's Chromie to fall, Hogger to go down. The boss may be in favor for Granite Gaming, but the kills, the kills are here for WildHeart Esports, who should be able to mop up the floor. Granite Gaming losing 4. Azerite able to mount up, takes a long disengage, and I think Azerite falls here as well, as they will be caught off. He is going to be caught off by the Jet Propulsion of Blaze. Really good turnaround from WildHeart Esports. 5 kills in quick succession.
Yeah, and with the Webweavers, I mean, this is a nightmare situation for Granite.
Yeah.
And exactly where WildHeart wants to be. Getting several kills, having a boss that takes about half a fort during a Webweaver is a-okay for them.
Alright, so we have WildHeart pushing in. Now, will they end here? That's the one thing that I'm very, very curious about from this team, is can they actually end with what they have? 16 talent to your advantage, 14-0 in kills. I'm having deja vu. I've been here before, Grubby.
Yeah.
Like Curse Hollow.
Yep, that's true, that's true. Look, Vala is not out of position. Yes, he is forward, but it is not like the other thing. It was not. He knows Apocalypse isn't out yet. Wow, that time trap was interesting. That was Poik's time trap, actually.
Yeah.
And during that time, while they were frozen, the keep was dying. Keep keeps down. Now, there is no need to go core here. In fact, if you do and you fail, it could take another 5 to 10 minutes to close out the game, because WildHeart could lose gems. Right now, they have enough gems, which means it's pretty much checkmate once they turn in again.
And I agree. Like I'm looking at this too. 63 in the pocket of WildHeart. This is the slow, safe. I wouldn't even say slow. This is just the correct call in my book. And Justin might be able to break this down further, because this could be the final push in for WildHeart Esports. They rotate to top lane to guarantee the keep. Vala gonna start building up that hatred, those sidewalls being taken down. Someone was actually asking me, they were like, why doesn't all the pros take down the sidewalls in all the CCL games? It's like, well, you know, sometimes it's not worth spending the time auto-attacking a wall, but big flank from Granite. They don't have 16s, but they gotta go for something here, Grubby.
Chromie ain't here yet. Granite Gaming goes for the deepest flank I've ever seen. Diablo gets shut down. Almost perma-stunned, can't cast anything yet, and by the time he can do anything, he just casts kind of a random Apocalypse that gets dodged. IBT's way far in front. Don't tell me he survives.
Ball Lightning is not going to kill. That's Diablo going down. Souls, not enough to reset, as that's a trade, but there goes the Joanna. The Webweavers are still approaching. Vala to fall as well. This is looking good for Granite Gaming in a defense, as that will be Blaze going down to the Cassia. 4 kills to Granite Gaming, but can they defend this core?
Well, they will be able to. I think the core takes about 20? No, 0%. I think it takes about 0% of real damage. So that's really nice job by Granite Gaming. That was a 3-level deficit attack. A level 14 against 17 backstab. They were able to do that. Just lose the keep, no core damage, and get 4 kills for 1. That's solid. And these kind of original special engages should have been done more. In the early game, it was a complete collection of solo lane deaths, like Cassia too far forward, Hager too far forward, and just getting picked off by rotations, when actually Granite Gaming is better at doing that very same thing. They should have sometimes said, okay, we don't clear wave, we go kill the Nazebo with a smart side lane engage. Granite Gaming doing best when they needed it most, still alive. Let's see if they can turn this back. It would be quite fantastical.
Wubby's trying to steal the camp. The shockwave is going to be interrupted on a 10-second cooldown. The temporal loop onto Ivy Ting, so he gets the vault away. Chromie does go down. Azurite very low. The annihilating Spirit Snow. No, excuse me. That's just the baseline. Big ol' Slappy Ghost is going to be coming through. It's 4 members for the side of Granite Gaming to fall. The amount of gems they just lost are going to... It's just... Oh, wait. No, Wubby. That's going to be a spin out. The spin gets him out, but Zergling might be just in line for a jet propulsion. Meanwhile, mid lane, Diablo, the Soul Defender, did have the Souls reset. Breeze trying to back away. That will be the Hogger to go down. The core is starting to defend. Diablo gets back into the Hall of Storm, but this is looking like WildHeart. They are going to end this series. Granite Gaming with 4 kills, 20 kills to the side of WildHeart Esports, but Breeze, they want the kill onto Breeze. They want another kill. They get the Penta in the end. That's an ace for the side of WildHeart Esports, who close out the series 3-1. GG, well played.
Yeah, GG, well played. WildHeart looked really good. They brought in a special pick via Nazebo, and it looked pretty good with the bonus range and the special zombie wall talent and the placement of it. And this double laning, Nazebo was very valuable. 6 last hits, 0 deaths. Was it the Nazebo or did WildHeart just play better? Justin, what do you think? Talk to us.
Say overall, WildHeart just played better, and it is a composition that WildHeart has been known to play well with in the past. You have the Anduin by Wary, the Vala, which this time was played by Ivy Tings when it's normally Mason Blaze, Zergling on the Blaze, and then the Johanna. So just a really defensive composition where you have this 4-man death ball, just protect the Vala comp that's fairly invincible in the early game, and then you have the Nazebo double soaking mid and top. So the Vala is just there to create pressure somewhere on the map to kind of allow the Nazebo to get stacks. They had a good setup. I liked it quite a bit. Having the Vala to control the early game and then have the Nazebo to kind of take over once you get to level 20. Nazebo did finish his quest out right as they're ending the game there, as they hit level 20 on the core. So unfortunately, Mason Blaze didn't get to have too much fun with his Vile Infection level 20, but he did at least get it. They had the level 20 insurance. WildHeart playing very standard and just playing very good, normal gameplay for them. Granite Gaming, on the other hand, playing very weird throughout. We saw it in the last map, and then also in this map. There's just a lot of unforced errors in the early game, but the thing that Granite Gaming does do that I like is that they kind of are just fearless, it feels, and they are improving week to week. They have taken 1 map off of each team they faced, and I think that's because of their kind of wild playstyles. And although they're not able to win the games doing it, like we saw that boss play that's completely unexpected, and it might not have worked completely for them, it might not have worked out the way they'd hoped, but they also have moments of brilliance like this, where this is the only way for them to hold the game, and they do manage to get the pick. So partially I would say that this is a little bit of WildHeart having a tendency to sort of get choke a bit in the late game when they have the ability to end the game, maybe getting a little bit nervous. Feels like there's some nerves that happen for the WildHeart members. That's been an ongoing theme that I've seen. But Granite Gaming, while they do have weird plays that fail, like the boss attempt where they get the boss but they all die, they also have these shining moments like this where they get the 4 for 0 in the only moment that they possibly could have to do it, and then they immediately follow it up with this Night Invade that goes horribly wrong and forces them to lose the game. But being here and taking the risk to take the fight is still good, and it's still good for learning. So while it might not be the play that wins them each match, that wins them the series, they're learning and they're gathering information, they're learning from all of these things. You learn a lot more by just going all gas, no brakes, and just forcing everything, forcing the fight for every objective, doing everything, any crazy fight you can possibly think of, going for everything, which is what Granite does. And while it might not work out for them now, they're gathering information from that, because you don't learn anything if you're playing defensively, if you're playing safe, which I think is why we're seeing Granite still make improvements week to week, even if they're maybe not showing it in the purest form. I'm still excited for them getting into the gauntlet, because they are taking the most risks of all the team, and that means that they're learning the most out of everyone right now. So it's still cool to see, but WildHeart just playing super standard and just playing better overall, just a better team today, and that's expected in the standings. WildHeart still looking strong, being able to take them out 3-1, good for them in the standings.
Oh, we are going to have an interview in just a second, but I have to do 2 things really quickly. Grubby, 1, bless you. And 2, for anyone wondering, that Gauntlet will be taking place on July 9th and 10th. That is the Gauntlet weekend. We will be off that weekend of the 2nd and 3rd for the 4th of July holiday. But that is in the future. Let's talk about the present, because we got Ivy Tings on the line right now to start talking about that series. Ivy Tings, can you hear us? Congratulations.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Wonderful, wonderful. So, big congratulations on this victory. You push yourself up a little bit further in the standings. I just got to ask the first thing, how are you feeling after that series?
Feeling pretty good. We knew we had to get this match and next match to kind of guarantee ourselves top 3. So, like, our fate's kind of in our hands. It's sad that we didn't get the 3-0, but 3-1's also good with us. Yeah, we're happy.
Yep. Next weekend on Saturday, you'll go up against Storm. But of course, before we talk about any of that, let's go ahead and throw it over to Justin and Grubby for a question. We'll start with Justin.
Yep. First of all, congrats. And how are you guys feeling going into the end of the season here? You'd said that it's kind of in your hands. How confident are you guys that you're going to be able to secure the 3rd place? As it does feel as though it's a pretty tight race between you and 2 other teams that are in sort of the middle of the pack right now in the standings. How comfortable are you? And is there any team that you're maybe afraid of facing? Or just, I guess, what are your expectations and hopes for that final push at the end of the season?
So next week we're facing Storm. We're confident in our abilities to pull out the win, obviously. We have a tiny lead over 2 other teams, I guess, for the 3rd spot. So we're kind of comfortable, but obviously don't want to get complacent. So we're confident in our abilities, but still a match to go. So anything can happen.
I think that's a very, very strong way to look at it. It's like, yes, we're doing good, but of course, we still have one more peak to hit. So I do like that mentality going into week number 7. Grubby, any questions for IB Tings?
Yeah, IB Tings, with LAN becoming more likely, though certainly not guaranteed yet, at least allow us to speculate and let me ask you, how much experience do you have playing on LAN, and how do you feel about that possibility becoming reality?
Absolutely 0 experience at LAN, unlike some of the other players in the league. I mean, if you saw my setup, you would kind of be a little bit questionable about my capabilities at LAN. I play on a laptop. I mean, I could send you a picture if you want. No mouse pad, 1 earbud only, kind of a scuffed gamer, but
I need
That's
to
a
see
strength.
this. I need to see this.
You have low needs when it comes to LAN, and LAN you can't always reproduce everything, and you have like no needs for a mousepad, so you can't forget your mousepad, you can't lose it.
exactly.
That sounds strong.
I never have to run into the problem of forgetting my mouse pad, forgetting a keyboard. I don't play on a keyboard either.
No, really?
Yeah.
So you just use it like the laptop. Yeah, they just use the laptop keys, right? Yeah.
In all my esports experience, I have seen that to be a strength when you have low requirements. So maybe that feels good to you. Second question, as a team, are you guys planning anything special for preparing for the LAN? Will you guys show up earlier in some central location and practice together? Or do you not have that possibility? Or did you not have that thought yet?
I don't think most people on teams have booked their travel. I mean, I guess the players haven't booked their travel arrangements yet, because obviously it's nothing certain yet. But I do know that WildHeart has a pregame party. I think the date is on the 4th. You have to check their socials for that. But they're gonna hang out at the fair, I believe, if I remember.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. I believe it's the night before. I believe it's the night before CCL.
And it's pretty much open to everyone.
Big extravaganza. Yeah.
So probably will be a fun time to hang out with people before that. But in terms of travel plans, not too sure yet. But as the date comes closer, we'll know better.
Okay, cool. Well, for you, I hope you guys will make it. Congrats winning today, and good luck next week.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, IB, before you skedaddle out of here, because you already kind of answered our questions about Storm Esports, are there any shoutouts that you'd like to give? The floor is all yours.
Shout out to my team. Shout out to you guys for casting every single week, making it a very entertaining broadcast. Shout out to Twitch chat. Obviously, they're going to be spamming. He shouted me out right now. And shout out to Storm next week. Hope we have a good match.
Oh, well, very humble of you, my friend. You have a great evening. Good luck in your scrims, and we'll see you next Saturday, June 25th, up against Storm Esports. Oh, I think he's already skedaddled. Bye-bye. There we go. But either way, that's nice of him. Like let's have a fun week number 7 matchup. But that was a really, really fun series. I had a blast in that one, and as always, like we do after a series, want to get your thoughts from both of you. Justin, I'll start with you. Actually, you know what? I'm going to jump ahead of you and say the big takeaway is play Nazebo and don't play Asmodan, I guess. As an Asmodan main, that feels weird to say. But Justin, no, actually, any real thoughts on the series?
Yeah, the Asmodan composition, not exactly what you need to win on Cursed Hollow, and the Tyrande a little bit weird, but I like to see Granit still experimenting and still going for wild plays, because we saw that variance in the last game with the boss, kind of the bad play on boss, and then the good play, holding the game in the only moment they possibly could. If you don't continuously take those risks and make those failing plays, then you never have the opportunity to make that winning play, that defensive play that happens at the major turning point. So I like to see that. I'm still a little bit fearful of what Granit can become at the end, coming into the gauntlet week, and WildHeart looking super strong, making a good kind of showing for trying to get that third place spot over the other two teams that they're going to be directly competing with. WildHeart making a good statement that they could be that third place team, but we won't find out for another week.
We won't find out for another week. I think is a great way to kind of lead that storyline for WildHeart Esports. Grubby, any takeaways?
Well, WildHeart looks really strong today. Not 100% perfect, but they looked so strong. And after all, Granit Gaming took a map from every team that they played so far, and WildHeart was no different. They're looking like top 3 material. For Granit, although they were confident that they could be one of the best teams at LAN, the question now is if they can actually make it. With their 1-5 score at this time, they're most likely going to end up 7th, maybe 6th if Storm does badly and Granit overperforms on their final match. And that would mean that they would need to win 1, 2, 3 consecutive matches to make it through the gauntlet and even go to LAN. That would be tough. So, WildHeart, they did what we expected. And we've got an even better match coming up in our top 2 teams, 30k and Chili Mountain. I'm looking forward to it after this break.
Yeah, I am looking forward to it as well. For anyone wondering, 30k will go up, or Granite Gaming will go up against 30k next weekend on Sunday, so that's going to be a big, a tall order to fill for the side of Granite Gaming. But at this time, I want to remind you and just let you know how to get into Ball Street, because it's so amazing. It's up to you to get the best picks for the winning team live as you're watching on cclmarkets.com. It's free. If you pick wrong, you can sell your shares and buy the other teams before the match is over. CCL markets trade from 0 to 100, with shares of the winning team valuing at 100 and shares of the losing team expiring at 0. There's tons of prizes this season, so join and play every broadcast, or during every HeroesCCL broadcast. Thank you again, Ball Street, for partnering with HeroesCCL for Season 4. But as Grubby had said, and I also alluded to, we got Chili Mountain up against 30k coming up next. It's going to be a really, really fun matchup. But of course, we got to get ready for this matchup. We got to get some lobby bans going. We got to get the players in said lobby. And we, as casters and the production, got to stretch our legs, eat a healthy snack, maybe a banana, one that's like a little bit ripe, like a couple brown spots here and there. But in this break, I want you to do one specific thing in chat. I want you to hit ! prize pool. Get yourself over to the match arena, and if you'd like to donate towards the prize pool, it's always very much appreciated. We're nearing $11,500, and if you would like to push us up further, it's always very much appreciated. But as always, during these breaks, we have brought on the amazing, the beautiful Kyle Ferguson, who actually just had his birthday this week, if I'm not mistaken, to interview one of the Chili Mountain players. I believe we have Masquerade with Kyle Ferguson. Don't go anywhere. This is HeroesCCL presented by Wisdom.